anyhow, we're going live. As
All
soon
right,
as it
good.
goes, I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna put on a headset, so keep talking. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna just give me. I'm gonna keep it here. I'm gonna pause. Hold on a second here. I'm going to just pause my microphone, but you go on, and I'll be
Yep,
there shortly.
no problem. Well, as people heard, I'm already live. So for the beginning of this live stream, that's right, Steve's here. You heard that, right? Anyhow, this TFL Saturday Night Live. This is the second episode. I do plan on doing this once a week on Saturday nights, same time as it is now. So if you're out on the East Coast, it's 10 o'clock your time. Where I'm at, Central Standard Time is 9 o'clock, and Mountain Time is 8 o'clock. And if you're out in California or Washington, it'd be 7 o'clock. So I think that's a pretty good time, at least for what I picked. But anyhow, the topics are going to vary. Mostly it's going to be dating scene, but there will be times we'll talk about other things. Okay, because that's going to be an open topic type form for the manosphere so that people can give their opinions on other areas. And there will be a little bit of discussion from what you see from the new logo or layout I put up here. You notice what I got right in the middle? The rise of the New World Order, because that's the political end of our system. That's what's going on in this world. That's what's been going on. And that is the root cause of the problems we're having. And that's already been proven and established. There's no going around it without being in denial or not looking into things for yourself. So that topic will be brought up as well because it should be brought up because it is where the problem come from. And for young men who are living TFL, the only thing I can tell you is, especially to the young men, don't be blaming yourselves.
Oh, dude, it's your own fault, dude.
Oh, yes, it might be my own fault. That's right. Maybe it's because I live in my mother's basement.
Yeah. So what's up, Bill?
I am having another talk here, with myself mostly.
So am I? Did you got anybody in the chat yet?
I got a couple. It looks like there's a
Okay.
couple in here at this moment. It's always
Okay.
normally a slow start, but give it a little time. I'm sure it'll build up. It normally does.
Yeah. You know what's really getting me? I haven't followed much of Monday FA Monday until a couple days ago. He's got a girl now that's I don't know whether he's trying to she's playing him for a sucker, but it's really weird. It's like I'm wondering if he's falling for that.
No,
I don't know.
actually, I was talking with Jay earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
he might come into this live stream, okay? And
Yeah.
Jay was talking about that. He knows who the girl is,
Yeah, her name's
okay?
Annika or something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll let Jay tell you because Jay's going to be in here momentarily.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to let Jay tell you. Okay,
Yeah.
because I think what he found seems to be very interesting when
Yeah.
it comes
Well,
to who this girl is. Okay, because she's
yeah.
actually more known than people think she is, and
Yeah, I know.
it also
She's
confirms that the guy is actually a plant.
Well, it might be a plant, but I'm starting to wonder if this guy is falling for her. I mean, Bill, there's two ways I look at this whole thing with him. He's either a plant and he's playing people for suckers, or he really is well spoken, but he's falling for the first woman that finds him attractive. Or it could be all of the above. It could be, he could be, or he could be, plant that he's just playing into the psychology of how, like, if he puts on the act that he accepts her as an ally, then every guy will think every woman's their ally.
Well, yeah, I think it's more of a play. Your last answer would be more in line with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But hey, Jay's here. Welcome, Jay.
Hi guys, good to be here.
And
How you doing?
Steve was just talking about that girl that's been showing up with Monday.
Oh yeah, Annika O'Brien.
Yeah.
So tell her
Yeah.
who she is there.
Well, I used to watch a bit of that, back whenever I was getting into the political scene, I used to watch some of them alt-right type videos, and her name came up quite a bit back in 2016 in that movement. I think she was talking to the Computing Forever guy, and possibly millennial woes as well. I think at some stage, you know. So they're quite big YouTubers with, you know, part of the alt right.
Yeah,
So.
most of the girls that are attractive. I mean, if I had gotten my sister Michelle involved in my videos, and I had seriously considered my late sister, I think I would have had 100,000 subscribers, or at least 20,000. You know, that's all it would take. If I had said, "Hey, Michelle, could you come in there and just kind of give your perspective on my channel?" I bet you any money I could have grown my channel real quick. My sister was attractive, you know, even for her age.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose a lot of people like to, you know, hear dating advice from the horse's mouth, really, you know, to think, you know, women can give a better story on what they want than men can.
Well,
know?
I don't know if you saw that video that I put up on my site. It was this guy named Alex Brown. Everybody talked about him. He had this guy on his at the root of MGTOW is gynocentrism. Most MGTOWs are gynocentric. They truly believe that
Yeah.
a man that can attract a woman is vastly superior.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The one thing you can call a MGTOW to offend him is an incel, right? Or a TFL. They do
Well,
not like that.
what makes it crazy about them is that, and I've said this before, it's nothing new, is that most MGTOWs are gynocentric men. Now, they're not only TFLers in denial, they're gynocentric in denial. They say they're not gynocentric, but everything they do proves that they are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they hate TFLers because TFLers are sort of the most similar thing to a MGTOW, if you know what I mean. Like, they hate them because they're so similar to him. But and then
Right.
the MGTOW sees what he doesn't like in the TFL, or, you know, he sees what he doesn't like in himself. A lot of these MGTOWs, you know, can carry some level of self-hatred towards themselves and whatnot. And, you
Right.
know, they'll be like, you know, like the dumpster dive, you know, to get like the
Yeah.
bottom tier woman. That's why they're MGTOW, you know, but they're jealous of that guy who can get the top tier, you know, the nice woman, that type of thing.
Oh yeah. You know, and to back a little bit, just to back up a little bit. See, Monday Forever Alone Monday also has his other channel, and he's all right. Politics. This female's from the all right community, so
Hmm.
you know there is a really good chance. Not that I could back it, but I think there's a strong chance she's all right. She's part of the politics, and what you're seeing is a show.
Yeah.
It's psychological.
It is psychological. It's a mind game. It's all it is.
Yeah, and that's what I think you're witnessing, and that's why she's there. You
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but you don't want to know what I've always said about MGTOW. MGTOW is like a get-rich-quick scheme or somebody that follows televangelists. There's always a new group of suckers to join the group. This is why MGTOW hasn't gone anywhere, because every time the good MGTOW content producers leave, there's a new group of suckers that joins, and it's self-perpetuating. It's like, why does prepaid legal, Amway, and Herbalife keep making millions of dollars? Because they got new suckers joining all the time. And then like these pyramid schemes. So you know, MGTOW is like a pyramid scheme. It's got a cyclical. It's always got a more group of suckers. I always said Jim Jones would have succeeded if he would have said, "Look, you guys, you want to leave you want to leave this place? Go ahead, leave." He would have had a new group of suckers that came right in. So Jim Jones could have been around still to this day if he wouldn't have been gone crazy. He would have just said, "Okay, guys, leave, and I'll just get a new group of suckers to join my cult," and he would have been fine.
Yeah. Well, in today's society, it don't take much. It don't take much to fool people. You know, if you were to think about what they call a false flag is nothing more than problem created by government. Wait for the reaction of the people, and then give the solution, which is problem, reaction, solution.
Bill, I think
Yeah.
we're to the point now though where it doesn't even matter. They've got us so controlled that they don't need to have 9/11 anymore. I think they've pretty much won. I think it's pretty much self-perpetuating. But I think it's even more, Bill. We live in a corporatocracy. Everything is about spending money. This is the only thing I'll say. I don't agree with the dictatorship thing. You cannot have a dictatorship with massive consumerism. The
Yeah.
two cannot coexist. So I think that consumerism right now, having a dictatorship in this country would mean consumerism would have to at some level end, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, good points, you know, Bill and Steve. I was thinking, you know, to go back to what Bill was talking about, Annika O'Brien, I think the whole idea is, as Bill was saying, is to try and subvert the manosphere, this, you know, alt-right ideology, like, you know, to try and get the
Yeah.
TFLers and the incels to become sort of alt-right. And then, you know, the alt-right will shame men for not working, not consuming, you know, they'll try and shame you if you don't have a woman. So I think, you know, I think this whole connection, as Bill was talking about, of the alt-right to TFLs to try and get TFLers back to the plantation, back to jobs, back to consuming and trying to get a girl and,
Yeah. Well,
beta
and you know
boxing.
what? The game is rigged. Listen, a lot of these guys are already vacillating. Like this guy, X-Jaded Creep, is now starting to blame himself. On the one hand, he did a video where he said that he doesn't believe that women can read your aura. But then on the other hand, he starts to go into this stuff and starts saying, well, men got to understand it's almost their fault. But let me tell you what I disagree with him on that. The only way you could blame yourself for the dating scene is if the dating scene was very favorable to most guys. But the obvious observation I've made over the years is that the dating scene is horrible to the average guy. I would say that the biggest TFLers are guys that are just everyday blue pillars.
That would
And
be a very accurate statement. Okay.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
It really would. There ain't anybody disputes that statement. All they have to do is open their eyes and look around them.
right. And I'm not disparaging anybody, Bill. All I'm saying is that what I've observed is that there's no doubt that you look at this situation. And okay, if guys like X-Jaded Creep want to say, oh well, it's you were bullied as a child. Listen, Bill, we've all dealt with bullies. Okay, I've dealt with them. Everyone has.
That's
But
correct.
it didn't change the fact that I still had girls interested in me. It's so crazy. It's like they try to come up. These guys living TFL today are trying to come up with every answer that might describe why they're living like they're forever alone. Completely blames himself for it. And
Yes.
society is a huge factor. You look at this guy Antonio Brown. I mean, he's already never going to probably never play football again. This player that was just released by the New England Patriots. It's like this guy. All it takes is a woman to make an accusation, and the NFL has to get involved in it. This was unheard of years ago.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure in England, I'm sure if you played for Manchester United, you'd be in the same situation.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm almost positive
That
that you're
happens over
right
here
about
too.
that. Yeah, that you're right about that. People don't understand. See, this is
Yeah.
not just in the United States by a long shot.
No.
Okay.
Bill, I love this discussion. I'll never get tired of talking about it because we are ahead of our time. We are addressing an issue, TFL. We're not wasting time continually talking about it because we're always bringing in new blood, not suckers, by the way, real people. See, here's the thing. I don't consider people that listen to this message suckers. I don't look down on them for listening to it. Whereas your typical televangelist does look down on the people that the typical NFL or major league sports team owner probably looks down on their constituent or their fans. I don't look
Yeah.
down on people that listen to this message because they're getting an earful that they need to hear.
They really are. I put
Yeah.
my new layout. Anybody's looking at my channel, I did give a new layout to it for this series because I figured we need to have the labels up here. So you got men going their own way. You got TFL. You got Vote for Men's Rights, which is MRA, Men's
Yeah.
Rights. You got Forever Alone down the bottom corner, and you got Incel Me and Voluntary Celibate, and then you have right in the middle, okay, Rise of the New World Order. And why did I put that in the middle? Because that is the common denominator that led to this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Can I
have
tell
no
you
shame
guys something?
about it. You go ahead. Sorry.
Right, right. I was just going to say, I remember a case like where this footballer, basically, he had sex with a girl who basically said she was 18 or whatever, and then it turned out I think she was like 16, and then the guy, lost his job, and everyone was hitting on him, calling him a rapist. It was all over the news. But
Yeah.
she lied about her age, so I kind of felt sorry for the guy.
By the
but
way,
she didn't
if
know.
the girl was 16, I think in the state of Ohio where I live, 16 is not statutory rape as long as it's 16 or above. But the point is, society might as well be a rapist because they would condemn you for it.
Well, they would.
Well,
Steve,
yeah,
they had found this to be common. If it's
Yeah.
16 in your state, I would be willing to bet if you look it up, you'll find out it's okay as long as the guy's not more than 5 years older than her.
Or another thing, my dad was I don't know what I had a girl one time. I was like 23 and she was like 16, and I told her there's no way I was going to get involved with her. She had a crush on me, and she was a friend of mine. She was a sister of a friend of mine, and my dad told me, he says, He said, Steve, there's nobody in the state of Ohio who's ever been convicted of statutory rape as long as the girl's 16. He said, however, they could hit you with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So I said, okay, that's enough. I don't want to hear it. That's enough for me to not want to mess with that. You know, but that was years ago. That was like over 20 something years ago.
Yes.
I was like 23 or something, but go ahead.
Well, I think personally, I don't think there's much we're going to do to change the situation in society because,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's always going to go back to one thing. People have to be willing to take responsibility for their own actions and how they treat others.
Right.
And I don't see a way of changing that because you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to change nothing through trying to, okay, you hear a lot of people say we should strip the women for their rights to vote,
Right.
okay? And I'm like, then you're only going to create this vision even further and you're never going to get anywhere, okay? Because the reality is this has all been deliberately created. And it is the only way
Mm-hmm.
you're going to turn it around is through people caring enough about each other to literally start looking out for each other. And I don't see that happening.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Bill. Very good point.
Because until people do that, how you're not going to change nothing because you're all too divided. You can't be up here doing what you're doing and be here for fame or be here just because. You got to be serious about what you're doing, and then you got to seriously sit back and think. I'm a person that has a big heart, and I've always cared for people my whole life, and I care about what's right and wrong. Okay, and it has nothing to do with gender. So I call both parties out equally, but in today's society, when you call a woman for her wrongs, you're immediately going to be attacked.
You're a hater.
Exactly. And so, people missteal my message because of that. But, there's enough men out here that know this is going on. And
Are you sure they're men? Yeah.
and, you know,
Go ahead.
and I wanted to do this once a week at this time so that people slowly start recognizing once a week I'm going to be up here and they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
able to have a chance to actually come into this live stream and talk and give their opinion and give how they feel. Because I'm trying to encourage people to start climbing out of that box and taking that smartphone away from your face and pushing buttons called texting and start getting yourself
Mm-hmm.
involved and giving your opinion. Okay? Because it's not going to be about a shouting match because you don't agree. It's going to be you give how you feel as long as you're being honest. You can tell how you feel and nobody's going to cut you. Even if we don't agree, then you got to learn how to agree to disagree. Because
Yeah.
it's
Well, we
not,
talked about that the other day, Bill, about disagreeing,
yes,
agree to disagree.
that's exactly it. And people
Mm-hmm.
need to learn this because there's nobody out here that constantly and always agrees with each other. And it doesn't matter who you are. It's impossible. It don't happen.
Right.
Too many snowflakes nowadays.
Well, yeah,
People who
we
get
have.
kind of the slightest disagreement, the slightest bit of trouble,
I know,
overreacting.
and they're running for their safe place, right?
Oh, dude, you
Yeah.
need to get your game up, dude.
That's right.
Dude.
Yesterday I was being a smartass and I posted a video called "From My Mother's Basement."
Yeah, I knew you were being a smart. Hey, by the way, I saw that washer and dryer. Is that brand new stuff? It looks pretty new.
Oh, that's my washer and dryer. It's about 4 years old now.
Oh, you brought that with you, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's pretty new stuff. It looked pretty good.
I even brought my refrigerator with me. I wasn't leaving that behind either.
No, what do you have to do? Like, it's a lot of stuff.
So I got two refrigerators in here. I got the one that this place came with, and I got mine.
That's cool. Well, good to see you're doing good, Bill.
So I think if I can make things work out, I think people will have a decent surprise here in the not too long future.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what because that's for another time.
Well, Bill, we'll talk privately on other things, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying what. I think they'll have a nice surprise in the not too far future.
Yeah, I think they will too.
And I'm glad Jay's here because Jay's time is so far gone. So it's
Oh
hard.
yeah.
It's hard for him to get in here because of the time of where he is at right now.
Hmm.
But I always
Yeah,
appreciate
but
it.
well, where there's a will, there's a way, Jay. You're here for a reason. You know?
Right, man. Yeah, but you can always get done what you want to do, I suppose. And that's, well, I guess for some people, that's not that's not always possible because of TFL and whatever. But
Oh, it's possible. I just TFL. TFL will not stop me.
oh, yeah.
No,
I mean, like some
keep.
people will,
Yeah.
maybe want to go up and then they can't get that. That might be impossible. That might stop you.
Well,
Says no.
you know what's the most hardest thing about getting the opposite gender in today's society? It's
Yeah.
not knowing how to treat one another, and one person thinking they're above the other, and the way we get treated. When society, unfortunately, it favors the female gender, not the men.
Yep.
Yeah, like a lot of the TFLers are basically TFLers. I think are the real MGTOWs in a way because a lot of
Yeah,
TFLers are
they
quite.
TFLers are by far better at seeing the reality because if they admit they're a TFLer, they practice humility. Where most of these friggin' morons that call themselves MGTOWs, they really are gynocentric. They really are all the way,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
they really are. I mean, it's just like it's unfortunate. MGTOW could have been a good thing. It could still be a good thing if men could figure out the frailties that they have, but none of them will admit it, and it's ego. And I don't have
Yeah.
time for people. Bill, and you and I have talked about this problem with the ego. We can blame it on the government, but the human ego does a very good job of keeping itself in slavery.
Oh yeah.
well, you know what? Ron's a little late, and so I'll give him his answer. What do we think about Monday's new girlfriend? That it's a stage show. It's a psychological act.
Yeah,
It's not his real girlfriend. It's a
no.
psychological act.
You
It's
know
a
what
mind
he
fuck.
said? He said in his video that a few of his Aspergian viewers noticed that she was giving him signals, and I thought this has got to be staged. There's no way they would have said that. This is stuff this has got to be really staged crap.
Yeah.
It is,
That looks
it goes right back to Monday, Forever
I
Alone
mean, who
Monday.
the fuck says that?
I got something I'm going to throw at people here,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay? And that's simple. The majority, not all, of course, but the majority of the people on YouTube that are in any kind of position are part of the establishment that we're speaking up against.
Yeah, I know.
And you
You
people
know,
need to realize that. And that's who Monday is. He's part of the establishment. Now, I don't think the Blue Skies media is.
No, I
No.
think he's
no.
just plain nuts. I think he's lost his mind.
I think Blue
Yeah.
Skies media just
Yeah.
happens to be a young guy who's been through a lot and he's been picked as a pawn by
Yeah.
Monday and he's being used.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, but I will also say that he's not that young. He's at least like 31, 32. He's in his early 30s, so he better get his shit together and start figuring out that he's being used.
Yeah.
I think I've lost my mind, so I'm pretty good at telling whenever somebody else has lost their mind, and that guy has lost his mind.
That guy's lost his mind. I mean, and he's got all them tattoos all over his body. Does he really think like a woman is just gonna he almost looks like a terrorist.
I'm gonna draw myself. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Dumb as shit.
Of course, I shouldn't say that because most guys nowadays have tattoos.
The tattoo
Most
thing
guys
is
nowadays are fucking dumb.
to me I would call him trying to look like a gang member or trying to look like a biker or something with all the tattoos.
A rapper.
Right.
Yep.
But I'm not going to judge you by the tattoos and I
Yeah,
have
but most people, I mean, we can't win that war. Most
Yeah.
people, unfortunately, are sporting these things. Even Warren has a ton of them, from what he said.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
why Warren, of all people, would have had them, but he does.
And I would just say I think the Blue Skies media just happens to be what he's telling you and he's been used. Okay? And
Hmm.
that's just it. He's legit, but he's a sound asleep to what's really going on and don't recognize why he's not
Yeah.
finding somebody because he's not awake to what's really going on. He's
No,
believing
no,
in
no,
the
he
lie.
doesn't. No, but I mean, I notice a lot of people are afraid of that word, true force loneliness. They hate it. They are.
Mhm.
I mean, they'll just say, so what does that mean? True forced loneliness? Why not just forced loneliness? They'll come up with some excuse, but the bottom line is they're terrified of the idea that there is an alternative or an understanding of what's really happening.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and incel makes you look like a total freak because incel makes you look like you're just after sex.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, and that's
I
what they
said that
painted
Bill
out.
before. It's like a
Yeah,
perverted
yeah.
animal.
You don't want to be
becoming
caught
sex.
up in the term incel because then everybody just thinks, oh, yeah, this is about sex, dude.
It's
You
a
just
perverted
want sex.
animal who just cares about sex. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bad
Dirty
thing
animal.
about that is they could, with the events that happened using the incel name, and then when you look at what Turd Flinging Monkey did with category and everything, and the media is even doing the same thing, even though they're not mentioning it, they're lumping TFLers as incels.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the
Well, Bill, I
TFLers
would say
self-identify
though, I
as
would say
themselves too.
that we can't totally negate sex out of it. I mean, every guy wants to.
Well, no, I'm
Well,
not doing that by no
you don't want
means.
to demonize men for wanting. I mean, Bill, you're not even religious, so I'm thinking that's the last thing you want to do is demonize guys just because they want.
I'm not demonizing them.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this, okay? Involuntary celibate and TFL do have a common denominator in what Steve brought up, okay? The only real difference is that's not the focus of TFL. And of
Right.
course, it's understood naturally, of course, you're going to want sex, okay? But that's not most true TFLers are willing to put sex at the back of the list where it belongs and get to know somebody.
Yeah, I
But
think
Bill,
sex is at the back of the list
Bill,
for a
you
lot of
tell that to a guy that's been celibate for years. Now, I'm not as horny as I was when I was in, say, my early 30s or late 20s, but you
Yeah.
got to a lot of this is wisdom through age,
And yes,
But
I understand that. And
But
it's not.
like sex is just a drug,
I guess what I'm
You
saying
can
is
get
my only
drugged up in different ways.
downside with
You know
you
what I
years ago, you'd get like angry at people because you just want to get laid, and you got to back off on that because I mean you already have kind of. You got to understand that if you're a 20-something-year-old guy, you have no clue what's going on. Your hormones are raging. You're lonely. Okay, give a guy a break.
Oh
I mean,
well, Steve,
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm with you
if
on
you
that.
can't get sex, you can just get drugged up in different ways to get that
Right.
kind of similar high. You
You
know what I mean?
know,
I talk it, but
Not-
no guy wants to hear. Go masturbate. My one of my female relatives did this to me one time, and I was talking to her on the phone, and she goes, "Oh, you can always just get a blow or no, not you could just watch a porno." And I thought to myself, that's not a good. What kind of advice is that to
No,
give somebody?
you
that's
feel
just
horrible
to
afterwards.
me that's sort of like teasing them.
Hmm.
That's like
Mhm.
waving the food in their face and not giving them any. Okay.
Right. It's
Right.
not.
So
It's not. I mean, this is why
and
I
I'm
say
not
You're
I never.
watching
against.
another guy fuck in
I,
front of you. It's not fucking normal.
no, well, I'm not against what Steve's saying because I'm with Steve on it. I agree with him totally. Okay. It's not about slamming somebody for it. It's about understanding that if a true TFLer wants companionship, okay, then they have to understand, of course, sex is going to come with it, and don't make that the first and foremost of everything.
Right.
That's all that's
No.
about. It's not about you don't want it, it's natural, normal. It's about understanding that a relationship is built on a whole lot more than just that.
But Bill, but for a guy that's got nothing in his life, that's the last thing he wants to hear. That's the kind of thing you tell a son. A father would tell a son. Let's say women were plentiful and a guy could easily get a wife or a girl. That's just something a father would tell a son. You cannot tell a guy that's living in a climate that's starvation for love and sex that you need to not want to get laid. Listen, women don't even care about most guys anyway. So that's the last thing you need to be telling guys. It's adding almost insult to injury.
Well, actually, it is. It is. They're doing just that because it's like if you get somebody that comes on this live stream and starts bragging how they're getting laid all the time,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's an insult to people to begin with because first off, these guys are struggling even getting in their life. Do you think they're getting that? No, they're not. But where are they at? They're living in a world that's completely sexualized. And what are they? They're human, and of course they want.
Bill, there's a
But
guy.
any guy can get laid. You just have to pay for a prostitute. It's not
No, but
about
not
getting laid at
even
all.
no. I would disagree with that. Not any guy has access to that. because prostitutes are not plentiful anymore. They shut down Backpage. Now, I never used Backpage, but I guess that's the government wanted to keep a way to keep any guy from even getting that. I disagree with that. Any guy can get it if he really wants it. Not if he's not willing, but not if he's willing to take the risk that there might be a cop or something. No, I disagree with that. I
Maybe
don't
go
think.
to
I don't listen.
Amsterdam if you have
If
the
I
money.
wanted, this is just me saying this. Okay, this is my point of
Country
view.
where it's legal.
If you're not even listening. You're interrupting. You're going over me. Let me
It's
say this real
my
quick.
bad.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick. If
No,
I wanted to get laid tomorrow, I don't have some number I can call and call a whore.com or whatever. I don't know I don't know who to call. So to say any guy
yeah.
can just call up a whore is bullshit. You
And
Who's saying this? Who's making the statement that any guy can just call a woman? Are you
The
kidding me?
only time, there's only one place I can think of in the United States where you might be able to pull that off, and that's in
Yeah,
Vegas. If you call outside of town and set an appointment at one of them damn houses, but
that's it.
outside of
That's
that,
the
that
only
yeah,
place in the United States where you can do it without worrying about repercussions of cops. There was a place, I mentioned this in one of my videos. I knew this was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. There was a nightclub in Brook Park, Ohio, not far from my house, called O'Malley's. It was on Brook Park Road. And it was a travel lodge, hotel, and it was like a double decker, and they had a bar below it called O'Malley's. And it was a sleazy place. Yeah, there's a lot of like weird sleazy people there, but it was a place where if you were into that really low trashy white trash, probably got HPV, you probably could have got a prostitute. Well, you know what they did?
mm,
Not only did they shut the place down, you know what the pretense was? Human trafficking is going on here. That's bullshit. Human trafficking. What, like a bunch of Ukrainian Tatianas are being trafficked in this place? That's a bunch of bullshit. They did this to shut it down because they knew that some guys were getting access to pussy and they didn't want it, so they shut the place down. That's the only reason they did it. And
mm,
listen, we've listened. They're celebrating. Get a load of this. Law and Order SVU is now celebrating its 21st season. This show has demon. I mean, the scenarios they create are so ridiculous for this show. Everything's a sexual exploitation, sexual exploitation. This
mm.
stuff is social engineering at the highest degree.
it
How
sure
in the
is.
hell can an average guy get laid when you have a society and that has demonized any form of physical intimate contact? That's why I'm just better off staying home or hanging out with some friends on a weekend and not being involved in trying to, you're safer when you just lay low and just indulge in your hobbies. That's what, or play listen, play video games. That's safer than what this crap is.
Yes.
Video games are a lot of fun, but I mean, like, how much is a flight to Mexico or Southeast Asia where you're from? Like, I
It's
mean,
too
is
much
there?
aggravation to go through. You're gonna fly to Mexico or fly to Brazil so you can get a laid. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's not even worth it.
yeah.
I mean, Winston Wu doesn't even talk about the cost of what it costs to go to these countries. Now, in my situation, I can't leave. I got family. I've got obligations to meet. I have pets. I can't just leave. I mean, they make it look like, oh, just leave. Leave your pets behind. Leave your sick relative in the nursing home behind. Just do it. I guess I could do that if I was a sociopath. Bill, wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, Steve's right. And he's correct about Winston. That was one of the first things I ever caught out about Winston, is he does not
Yeah.
want to talk about the cost. And there's so
Yeah.
many men
He
that
doesn't
can
want to
never.
talk about what you have to sacrifice. If you have healthy parents or your parents are dead, if you're estranged from your relatives and you have no use for them, yes, listen, I said this to many people I know. If my mom wasn't sick and I wasn't taking care of her, even though she's in a nursing home, because I still take care of her, there's no doubt I probably would travel, sell this house at some point, and sell my property, and put some money aside and travel, because I would
Mm.
probably discover myself. But I can't listen. I'm a human being. I'm a civilized human being. I cannot just dump somebody and say, well, I mean, it's just crazy, Bill. I just can't do that.
Yeah, you've got a
No.
conscience.
I have
we all
a
have
conscience,
consciences
you know,
here.
and for these fucking idiots out there on
No
YouTube
problem.
that think, oh, dude, I got you all figured out. Yeah, you got me all figured. Bill and I, we have talked about this, how these people who hate our guts always act like, oh, dude, I got you all figured out. Oh, yeah, you don't even
Yeah.
live with me and deal with, like, it'd be like me saying to Warren, I got you all figured out. I don't know what Warren deals with. How can I say I got them all figured out? You know, it's
Oh, I
crazy.
know.
Oh, dude. And of course, I don't
Yeah.
show my face, dude.
He saw someone on the TV who was like a virgin or whatever, and then he's projecting, you know, all attributes of that virgin onto you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
That's,
you
that's
know,
the type of shit they do.
I'm gonna
TV stuff.
something out here.
Yeah,
One night on a live stream that was Warren was on,
yeah.
we had what supposedly, at least they're claiming they are, and I don't think they are, was a female come into the chat. Now, I personally think the female was a male pretending to be a female, and they were
Yeah.
centering themselves at Warren. That they really like Warren and they've been following him around the internet, listening to all of his chats. And I'm like, Warren doesn't do much on the internet for chats. So how are you following him all over the internet?
Yeah. So have to be what's following you, Bill. I think to follow one, you have to follow Bill.
You know, so reality slap to me was this is not a female, this is some damn troll trying to
Mhm.
Yeah.
play with Warren's emotions.
I mean, they
Right.
would have said, I've been following Bill for a while, and I've sought, you know, if they were being serious, they would have said, I've been watching Bill for a while, and, you know, you come on occasionally, Warren, that type of thing, you know, I really like what you say. But if they didn't even mention Bill as part of it, you know, it's a bit suspect.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure it was not a female, but I wanted to say that because that was never brought up. I didn't bring it up on the stream when they were in there. I let them go ahead and say what they had to say, but the red flags were up from the beginning. And of course, they mysteriously have never returned.
Yeah, yeah, if they return, you know, call in right now, you know, call in any Saturday night.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
mean to put,
Warren and Bill
you know
would
what,
like to
I'm
talk
not
to you.
saying, listen, I don't know. What is your name again?
Harry,
What is your name?
Harry, or Harry
Harry?
James.
Harry James? Harry James. Listen,
Yeah,
Harry, at some point, I want you to one of these days just get on the friggin' thing and just show a picture of yourself. Listen, the thing that I'm trying to do with this whole internet thing is get people to at least be willing to show who they are, because even Hugh Traviato, I know he takes his facial videos down, but at least we know what he looks like, you know. And
yeah,
I mean, I've seen him. He's great. You know, he's got a high hairline and he shows himself. We need to get more people. But I think Hugh Traviato did a fantastic video. He came back and he did a video where he said, you know, like hell by the dashboard light. I mean, he used to make fun of people being ugly and doofusy, but yet like we're not allowed to see what he looks like. I mean, that doesn't sound very fair. I mean, it's like being a
well,
one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. It
Well,
yeah.
doesn't.
Well,
it is
my
because
my
when
real
you,
face is my profile picture. You know, if I leave a comment, that's my real face beside it. You know, I do comment
You know what?
sometimes.
I've had people say, "Oh, well, dude, you're ugly." But you know, the funny thing is that all the guys that have called me ugly are guys that don't show their face on camera. Isn't that funny?
yeah,
Isn't that funny?
probably
It's
because they're hiding their own ugly face while they're calling you it.
I have a theory that
Yeah,
these guys are
yeah,
probably on some sort of. They're not even living in their mother's basement. They're probably living in a one-room apartment, government subsidized, and they hate their lives in the world. And their only way out of it is to harass other people, and it's really bad.
do single men even get government subsidized apartments? I know single
Yes,
mothers
they do.
do, but
Yes, they
you
do.
don't hear about men getting them.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I knew a guy that delivered pizzas. And when I moved to Savannah, Georgia, I took a part-time job. I was actually working air conditioning back then, but I was trying to save extra money. And I took a pizza job part-time delivering. It was actually a very lucrative job at the time before gas prices went up. And I knew a guy that was delivering pizzas. Actually, he was living in a government subsidized one-room apartment, and he was able to make money on the side. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe he had like a disability or something. I don't know. I mean, I know a few
Yeah,
guys
but
who.
this guy took so much shit from people around him. And I don't want to get into this, another story, but you know, no, you can. It's the system is not pro female. If you're a guy that has a disability, you can collect disability. It's not that bad. It's just where it gets tricky is if you're a guy that wants to
Mm.
collect welfare and you have a single child, you don't get the same perks as a woman. Listen,
Right,
I
you know,
wouldn't want
single
to be
mothers
I
aren't
wouldn't want to be
expected
raised.
to work.
Yeah.
You know,
No, well, you
it's
don't
kind
get
of
the
funny.
same perks as a female does, and anybody
Yeah.
that tells a single guy or that's got a kid, maybe the kid's in his custody, that oh, women are gonna like you because you're raising a kid and they're gonna respect you. Because I've had
Yeah.
this shit. They tried to pull that crap on me.
Yeah, right.
That is complete crap, complete hogwash, no truth to it whatsoever.
Yeah, the PUA say just get a dog. Just sit there with a dog. Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
dogs
women
are
are gonna
nice.
like you just because you're walking a freaking dog.
I know,
Yeah.
that's insanity, okay? So all you
Hmm.
gotta do is get a dog and be dressed halfway decent and walk down the street, and all the
Yeah.
women are gonna flock your way, huh?
They'll
And
flock to
then
your
you
dog
woke
and
up and
ignore you.
realized, yeah. Then you
That's
woke
what
up and
happens.
realized it was a dream.
Yeah.
They'll flock to your dog and ignore you. You know, the dog will get more fucking attention than you. But you know, if you're married women, they don't get money for not working, you know. But if you're a single mother, you actually get money. You're not expected to work. So the government actually encourages you to become a single mother if you think about it like
Yeah,
that.
but you know what? I don't know how far. I don't like to just delve into conspiracies. I think what it is an economic situation. You know, Mitchell. I criticize Mitchell a lot in all the interviews I did with him, but Mitchell basically thinks everything is economic. He really believes that what ultimately everything is capitalism requires that everybody work their ass into their grave, and he's right. I mean, he's got it right on. I haven't talked to Mitchell in a long time, but I will soon.
But you know, TFL, like I mean, the Middle East is, and you know, Africa, they're like the poorest areas and they have the highest birth rates, don't they? Like so, TFL isn't economic, I don't think. It's
Yeah.
more socially engineered type of problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but even like this guy here says single moms have all the government goodies, okay? But that's been done by design. Okay,
Yeah,
just like the marketing, everything's marketed to women. That's not
Yeah.
an accident. That's all deliberately done to cause
Yeah, but
friction.
Bill, I don't think it's like some evil conspiracy. I think it's just economics. It's plain simple. Okay, why does the National Football League want to make it impossible for an athlete who slaps his girlfriend to make a living? Because they realize that the end result is that the females of these beer-bellied slobs that watch these games are going to bitch and complain about it, and they are looking at the bottom line, which is money and advertising. They would
Well,
rather throw
that
a guy like
that
listen, let
part
me
is
fin-
that part is true, Steve. Okay.
yeah, but let me finish this. So what they want to do is Antonio Brown. He's an asshole. He's a dumb. The blacks don't even support him. They think he's an idiot. He's had every chance in the world to redeem the situation, and he's screwed himself up. So Antonio Brown now is completely out of the NFL, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most people are, including the black sportscasters. But the
mm,
the thing is that if you do anything that is anti-female, the business end of this is looking at, is this going to hurt us financially? And that's what they're looking at. And once they determine that, it's lights out. So even if I was an NFL player and I spoke my mind, that alone could get me caught up in a big situation, you
Oh
know?
yeah, I know what you're saying, Steve. And my answer would be everything you said is correct.
Yeah,
Okay. And I would also add one more thing to it.
yeah,
I think it's like a double-edged sword. It was meant for more than one outcome.
mm,
Okay. They also knew they were not only going to make a lot of money on this, but they also knew it would cause a lot of
it
grief,
caused a lot of friction. Yeah,
a lot of
people
friction
are
and grief.
upset because then Antonio Brown is potentially a future Hall of Famer, but now his career is is in the dumpster because the vaginal orifice has more power than the NFL player that could potentially make it to the Hall of Fame. You
mm.
know, I mean, it's like we're juggling what's more important, the vagina or the guy that can play football, you know, or the guy that can do a good job at it and not be a rapist. You know, everything is like we have to. I think that feminine imperative is going to win by a long shot.
Yeah.
And
But you
I don't
know,
think
like
most guys have balls. I think you look at all these male sports commentators on these shows like ESPN, they're all pro female, pro female, pro. They've every show has a woman on the panel. You can't even watch an NFL show without there having a female on the panel. Rachel
Yeah.
Nichols is the most irritating commentator on that ESPN. I've watched her, and it's like she's 45, 46 years old, and this woman has got the mindset of an 18-year-old. I mean, like there's no real intelligence with these female panelists. And all these guys just kiss their butts like, well, yeah, you're right, you're right. They don't even like every sports show has a female commentator on there.
But like I don't understand how single mothers can help the economy because her potential spouse, he'd maybe become a TFL and kind of drop out of society and refuse to work. And she's not working either.
Yeah,
She's
but
just getting money. None of them have jobs.
this is a short-term agenda. Okay, here's the thing: single mothers don't benefit the economy, but there's more working mothers than there are single mothers that are on welfare. Would you agree? In other words, there are more women out there who are
Yeah.
married to successful men, more women who have good paying jobs that are single that don't need a man. And when push comes to shove, the woman's the female imperative is coming, the female agenda is coming before anything else. That's why the NFL is kissing butt. Oh, you had an argument with your girlfriend and we didn't record it on video, but we heard a rumor. Oh, we need to do an investigation on this. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Yeah, but I just think the single mothers, they get a lot of free money for
Yeah, but that's
not particularly contributing.
that's not the majority of women on single mothers on welfare is not the majority of women. Come on, let's be
Yeah,
realistic
but
here.
is
It's
it
like
the-
10%
yeah,
it's about 10% of women.
but
Okay.
is it
That's a
what's the majority
small
of the single mother?
no. It's yeah, but you're jumping into this conclusion that single motherhood, living on welfare, is the main agenda. The main agenda is that women spend more money. Women are making very good money today. They have good paying jobs. They have husbands that have good paying jobs. That's where the
Yeah.
money's coming from, not the single mothers. I think you're getting too carried away with the single mothers on welfare.
But I just think, a good, like if you wanted to benefit the economy, you wouldn't give the single mothers any handouts, and then you make them marry a man, that type of thing, and then that way
Well, but then
you get him to work.
that would not pedestalize them then, because we have to the only way to pedestalize women is to make them look like they cannot defend themselves.
Mm.
They've been doing a good job of that for a long time in society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All I can
just
tell you is it bothers me that anytime an NFL player or a major league or I don't care, at Manchester United, I'm sure it happens the same way. There's a dispute between a guy and a woman. They're always taking the side of the woman all the time.
all
Accusations
the time.
always. We need to first investigate this. Listen, we saw what happened. Was that Tony Banks was his name? They're already making a Hollywood movie out of it. For crying out loud. It's so pathetic. Hollywood is now cashing in on the tragedy of a guy that could have played pro sports or something. It's like this stuff is getting so out of hand. And I don't care. Here's another thing. I hear this crap from guys on the internet, like they think like people like us, Bill, can't speak our mind and have a job. That's bullshit. You can still hold a job. I have a job. It's like I have two jobs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Mm. It depends on the caliber of the job as well. Maybe
No,
like
bullshit. No, and it's not delivering pizzas. This disgusts me. This whole, and Bill, and you and I have talked about this incessantly off audio or off recording, but this whole thing with people in this manosphere that want to destroy other people, by making fun of the type of work they do. Oh, you deliver pizzas. Oh, you sweep streets. Oh, you clean toilets. You loser. While I'm a double amputee sitting in my government subsidized apartment making fun of you. I'm a miserable shit. This is the kind of shit that you get to deal with in the internet. Some guy who's in a wheelchair that's making fun of people that work for a living. It's pathetic. This manosphere is such a joke, Bill. I think you agree.
Well, that is correct. We have so much of that going on. For the good people out here, the honest, sincere, good people that we have, you have probably twice as many that are doing what Steve just said.
mm.
And they're destroying it for other people is what they're doing.
Yeah. And Bill, I don't even think it's a conspiracy, Bill. I think it's real simple. There are people out there who are so angry at the world they want to bring the whole ship down, including people that want to help them.
Mm.
Well, I can't argue with that because we have a percentage of people out there. I know what you're saying. You would be correct about.
Yeah.
A guy in a wheelchair making fun of a guy that is trying to make a living by delivering pizzas. You
Well,
know,
let's,
Bill, I made the biggest mistake ever telling people I delivered pizzas part time. I had gotten off a 4.5 year job being a caregiver for my mother. Then I ran, a 4 year job, and then I went into trying to run for political office to stop this sewer project. Okay. And then I took a part time job delivering pizzas because I didn't want to blow all my savings. Okay. Once I told people I delivered pizzas part time, I was I was I was railroaded. Can you imagine how many hundreds of thousands of men do this part time that make maybe a job on the side just to make an extra income? And you're basically just saying, while I'm sitting in my wheelchair, my miserable government subsidies, I'm going to make fun of some guy. These people are pitiful. They are the most disgusting people. This internet has attracted this manosphere. This is why I don't support the manosphere, because I really don't believe it's a sincere community at all, Bill. It's not.
well, Steve, I think there's something that goes into this. Okay, let's talk about the mental health of people.
Okay, mental health, but don't blame it on the Rockefellers, Bill,
Oh,
because this is
I'm not even going to the
this is
rock.
ego.
I
This
did
is
not.
ego.
I did
Yeah,
not bring up no names. You brought that up.
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bill. I'm just playing the devil's ad. I'm just being a
Okay,
smart ass. Go
but
ahead.
the reality is we have mental health issues because of our society.
Right.
Okay, and you have a lot of people with been torn down and messed up so bad in their life that they already have mental and they're not going to. Sometimes they might even think, oh, it's okay that I'm mental. But whatever the reason is, they're doing exactly what Steve's talking about. And we have got a world full of people that just get off on being fake.
Right.
Okay. And so, yeah, we have an epidemic of mental problems going on with people. And unfortunately, that's going to play out to their bad because you're up here in the manosphere
Mm-hmm.
because of your life. And I'm not criticizing you because you had a hard life, but when you're up here purposely doing the type of stuff Steve's talking about, and then
Yeah.
you look at what's going on, the only thing you're doing is helping destroy your own self and everybody around you because they're
Yeah.
going to use these things and are going to push more bills and more laws
Right.
that's going to go against all of us. And you're just helping them to do that, is really what you're doing.
Well, Bill, I'm not worried about them passing anti-gun laws because I think that pretty much there's enough guns out there. But what I'm looking at is the fact that we know of a couple of people that have attacked me and you both, and they're still around on this internet. And they, of course, they're nameless, faceless people. I'm not talking about Dwayne. I'm talking about people that have attacked us personally.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, we know who we're talking about. And they have I try to understand the psychology of these people, but it's a waste of time because I really don't care to anymore. I think that they hate me, Bill, because me and you are just too blatantly honest about the way things are.
Well, you know what? I've got a feeling that you're right. That's one of the reasons we get hated on so much. But I don't care how much you hate me. I'm going to tell it just the way it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm going to tell it the way it is. And if you don't like that, you don't have to be here. That's the way I feel about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because sugarcoating things or saying, well, that's a double standard. You can't talk about that. Okay? Any of that stuff is nothing but corruption. And all the people do is manage to help. You know, you have this ultimate selfishness. You get these people that come up here that, whatever reason, they're in it for themselves and only concerned about themselves. And I think the first time something come along, they'd be gone. They don't care about other people in general. And for me, it's always been about helping other people. And when you really think about it, how many people in society do we have that are willing to stand up for men? And
Not many.
that's right. That's a very low number.
Right.
But if it comes to standing up for a woman, well, I think we got thousands and thousands willing to do that, don't we?
Bill, the NFL, the National Football League, and I don't know how in the NHL, the National Hockey League, or the National Football League is by far the most lucrative of all, I mean, football season is huge in this country. And this NFL is so pro gynocentric female, it's not funny. I'm sick of it, but there's nothing we can do about it. And it's making me sick. And I've given up on it. And then Antonio Brown is an asshole. He's a dumbass. I don't want to use any racial slurs, but he's an asshole. He really is. He's as stupid as you can get. He gets accused by a second woman of being a sexual harassment. What does he do? He harasses her and tells her in a text message. This is another thing. I've talked about this before. Never, never, never text a woman and get into an argument with her, because that is the most incriminating you can ever get. It is more incriminating than if she were to record your voice on a cheap audio tape recorder and texting. Oh, you this and that, and then he did some stupid things. This is why I tell people this guy has got to be out of his freaking mind. But nevertheless, they're never going to give up and putting women on a pedestal. This NFL ever.
No, they're always going to place her above. The guy's always going to be pushed down.
Yeah.
And the guy has to know that you don't stand a chance against the opposite gender because society is backing your opposite gender against you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I don't care what people think. When I speak out against corruption of females, I call it as it is. And I never said it's every single female, and I never will. Okay? When I'm talking about something that's going on with the female gender, it's because it's going on. And the females who know they're responsible for doing it know who they are. And the ones that ain't doing it also know who they are. I don't back off on that, and I probably never will because the reality is what it is.
Yeah.
People need to be calling people out, and you don't be afraid of your opposite gender because you're the female. You
Mm.
just
Yeah, like the reward. You know what, Bill? I've just gotten to this point. I Bill, I got a great video. I actually did a video in my truck the other day when I was driving, and I'm thinking about it's a 2 gigabyte file, but I might just strip the audio off it and just upload it because it's a very good video. It's like 20 minutes, and I may upload the video later, but it's just too big of a file. It takes too long to upload. Um, unless you do this directly live on YouTube, then it's easier. But anyways, I talked about how guys. We're changing the subject here, but a lot of TFL guys assume when they see couples in public that they know everything about them. And I'm here to tell you, you don't know anything about the people you see out in public until you know them personally.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because you and
Yeah.
I did talk about this, and
Yeah.
he's right. I mean, that is right on spot. So many
Yeah.
TFLers are making assumption calls on somebody they don't even know based on their assumption.
Right. Like when you see a couple out in public, a man and a woman, you can't assume that they've been together forever, or you cannot assume they have not been together forever. You don't know anything about them.
That's right.
And,
They could be cousins or sisters or brothers for all you know. Okay,
yeah.
you don't know the first thing about them. They may
Right.
not even be a couple. Then again, they could be a couple that's new, or they could have been a couple that's been together for a whole long time.
Mm.
Because the reality is, you do not know them.
Hey, Harry, I apologize if I cut you off before. I didn't want you thinking I was being a
No.
dick. I just don't think the single mother thing economically is as powerful as female imperative as it relates to spending money. I don't think the plan is to keep women on welfare so they can have kids out of wedlock. I think the plan
Yeah.
is to get women to have good jobs so they can spend money. That's what I meant.
Yeah, like I suppose you know, if they cut the money to the single mothers and then actually, you know, force them to go out, get married and get a job themselves and shit, they'd probably start a riot and fucking it'd be probably more trouble than it's worth at this stage, you know. It's probably better to pander to them economically in the short term.
One thing I wanted to say, I'm kind of jumping around here, is that I think we need to understand that the economics is a big thing with this thing. I mean, it really is, because we cannot assume that like there's this conspiracy to bring I mean, the population control, it doesn't seem to be working because the population keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, immigrants just keep infiltrating the country, and it's, you know, of course you get, I don't know.
Well, you know, that could be done, you know, purposefully, sort of to try and, you know, this sounds bad, but you know, like maybe if they try and, you know, basically make some sort of tribal or racial war down the line, it wouldn't be the first time it's happened.
Well, it won't be the first, but you know,
That way
it
you can
may
kill
not
more
have the
people.
results they want to. I mean, one thing is for sure, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on guns. There's no shortage of people that have guns in this country. So I don't think they're
Yeah.
doing a very good job of controlling the guns, because you go on YouTube and watch people shooting at the range. And like, if you want to find out what a 357 Magnum automatic is, just Google that term and boom, there's 5,000 videos on it. They're, I don't think the object is to control the guns. They're not doing a very good job of it, because there's enough people who would like to shoot these damn things, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think
That's
they're going to have a lot more trouble getting. If you pay attention, you know, like when they pull a false flag with the guns,
Yeah.
the gun market actually escalates. They make more sales.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's another plan. Maybe they want people to spend more money, you know?
I do think a good way though to get rid of guns in America would be to import so many, you know, foreigners who don't really give a fuck about gun control to the, you know, extent that the Americans who care about the guns, you know, become less and less. And then if you outlawed the guns, and then anybody who was in possession of a gun got thrown into jail or some shit like that,
Well,
you know.
they don't have enough
Instead,
jails to put, you know, come on. I mean, this
yeah,
stuff about, I think that Alex Jones did a snowball job at scaring the fuck out of the public. The guy's a scumbag. He really is. The Alex Jones is a fraud. I mean, the guy pushed all this propaganda that never just happened. It never happened. Guns have only gotten stronger. They've never been able to control it. This is a bunch of bullshit. Alex Jones is full of shit.
yeah, but I mean, it can happen. Like, I think the Australians, you know, everyone used to be able to carry a gun back then, but nowadays, you know, for the last 10 or 20 years, you know, they were all seized and taken away, and it was made illegal, you know.
Yeah, but
I don't know
that's
how many Australians
Australia.
have guns, though.
That's
Probably not
not
too
a
many.
Australians are not. They used to be cowboys, but they're not anymore.
I don't think cowboys exist anymore. I think
No,
cowards.
no, no. They used to exist in Australia and America, but they don't exist anymore.
Right.
Australian cowboys were huge. Yeah, they were pretty powerful.
I'd have to say most of the people in today's society or worldwide, we have more cowards than we do anything.
Yeah. Honestly, Bill, I'm gonna tell you something. If I had to grow my own vegetables, I don't think I would survive. Bill, most of us would not.
No.
I'm being honest about it.
Well, you know, that's what you call being stuck in the matrix.
Yeah, Bill, we're all stuck in the matrix. I mean, if you said, hey, grow your own vegetables, I mean, the government knows that we ain't going to survive. Most people aren't going to survive that.
Yeah. Well, you know, unfortunately, the majority of people don't even got the skills to grow their own garden.
Yeah, but it's not their fault, though, Bill. You can't blame them for it. You
I'm
don't have it.
I'm not blaming. Well, actually, I do. I couldn't do it no more, but I do got the skills because
You have the skills and you have the intelligence, so do I. But
yeah.
We've become a society that just doesn't seem to internalize it. It doesn't. It's not necessary to do it anymore, and it's not practical to do it anymore. I mean, if you live in New York City, is it practical to grow your own? Like Italian immigrants still had their own gardens in 1902, but this is the turn of the century. You could do that. You can. How many people can afford to live in New York City, let alone grow their own garden in their own yard.
Well, I found some funny stuff with that too. Okay, when you mentioned garden in the front yard,
Right?
okay, there's actually some reports I saw with some elderly people that had garden in their front yard, and the city came down on them saying they can't have their garden in the front yard because it hurts the appearance.
Hmm.
Okay, and to me, it's like in our society, most people don't anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, my family, my dad had a garden in the backyard and had a half acre of land across the river, okay, that we had to go work on every weekend. We had to work in both gardens. And of course, I learned how to plant gardens and do gardens as a kid because you didn't have a choice, right?
Hmm.
And this is the way it was, and people had gardens everywhere. Now I look around me and, oh, you might see a garden one every 25, 30 blocks if you're lucky. And I said might because people just ain't doing it anymore.
Hmm. Don't blame them though; it's not their fault.
Well, I'm not saying by no means is that their fault. It's called being stuck in the matrix, and we're all there.
Hmm.
Okay, and only a person can change their own outcome. You can't. You don't tell somebody. I mean, they have to want to. I suppose if somebody wanted to learn how to grow their own food and live off the land, they could, but they would have to dedicate themselves to wanting to learn it. And I don't see
Bill,
most
it's not
people doing that.
practical to
So,
live off the land. You have to be a millionaire now. It's gotten to
mm,
the point where people that want to have wooded areas in their backyard have to be millionaires because
that would be actually a very correct statement.
only millionaires can afford to have wooded lots. That's how bad it's getting. It's getting to the point where Ryan Holmes and all these developers are buying up properties because the Jenkins family and the Smith family doesn't want to hold on to it anymore. They want to sell it. And guess what they do? They sell it to Ryan Holmes, and Ryan Holmes says, "We need sewers now." Of course, everybody's septic systems work fine, but now everybody's got to be caught up in the matrix, and it's just bullshit. It's just more corruption. And Bill, like I said, the Rockefellers have nothing to do with this. We do a very good job of it being corrupt on our own.
Oh, we do, and even if a Rockefeller was involved, you got so much corruption down the line, it don't have to be any of them at all
Hmm.
because the corruption's straight down the line.
Oh yeah, and these people that you try to warn, the people that warn, oh, let me tell you something, sir. You don't know what you're talking about. The masses are the biggest idiots, fucking idiots in the world. Like when you try to explain to them what's going on, oh, don't you tell me, don't you tell me that. Oh, the masses are so intelligent.
Oh, that's so true. So fucking true.
That wouldn't surprise me. I was looking at the comments and he's talking about a movie we've seen it or the new Joker movie, and he's Ron saying it seems to be based on. It looks to be TFL themed.
Really.
Yeah, I heard that actually myself. I haven't seen it, but I heard that.
It wouldn't surprise me if they made a movie like that that was actually a TFL themed movie, because
Well, they're
they
trying
like to
to.
rub it in your face.
These people, Bill, you and I both have talked about these people are these social scientists. They study these trends. They are absolute geniuses at studying the human condition. They do. They're way ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, but to me that would just be another psychological thing to rub it in your face, and to
Right.
normalize people being alone like this,
Right.
which is where it will go because it's going to normalize it to where you complain ain't got nobody in your life, you're going to be demonized.
But here's the advantage that you and I have, and many guys. I mean, you're with a woman, but for which reason? Here's the thing. What I'm going to tell you is that in some ways, guys that are living TFL might be better off.
Uh,
They
and
might
a-
be.
in a lot of ways, they're actually better off.
Yeah, they're much better off.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, like I'm probably not. I'm at the fucking point where I'm probably too fucking lazy to get a girlfriend. Like, it's just not worth the effort or the hassle. You know.
If you have to put effort into getting a woman in your life, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Any
mean,
any effort on a man's part to get a woman in his life is a waste of time. Going to a bar, going to a club, dressing a certain way. If you have to put effort into getting a woman, it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
in a way, like
yeah.
having kids and all that, that takes effort too, you know. So I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it is going to lead to effort no matter what. You know, every man who gets a woman is going to have to put some sort of effort.
I
Like,
don't feel sorry for these idiots. Listen, I fought the sewer project in the city of Olmsted Falls. These idiots are going to get their sewers. And I fought hard to stop this phase 5 sewer project. But these assholes are going to get what they deserve. And they're going to sit back and look at that. In fact, I was wrong. I was right about it. But that's just how things work. And here's a funny thing. My house is paid off. I got money in the bank. I'm going to suffer the least. These people that are going to deal with this shit are going to suffer the most. So that's what they get to deal with.
yeah. Well, you know, it's come down to a point where guys are much better off to be alone, and if you're not alone, well, then you better have the attitude I don't give a fuck. Because if you don't have an attitude I don't give a fuck, without that attitude that I don't give a fuck, I'll do as I want, you're gonna get run over, used, and thrown away.
Bill, I fought
right.
hard with this phase, with this sewer project, but I realized that my opinion apparently doesn't matter because I've gotten indignant people that have gotten in my face and said, that's just the way that it is. It's just going to happen. It's just the way that it is. Okay. Well, fine, asshole. Be it the way that it is. Okay. You want to play games like that? Fine. Let it be the way that it is. And you get to eat shit when, you know, in my area of Olmsted Falls, for sale signs are all over the streets, in the area that's going to be affected by the sewer project because the people are trying to dump their houses hoping that they don't have to pay for the renovation. This is what these same morons dumping their houses. How about not dump your house, leave it to your kids and say, we don't want this bullshit anymore. No, we can't do that. We'd rather just fool the people and say, let's pretend we're selling your house. You know, these realtors know this is going on, and the realtors are going to bullshit people. And they listen, Bill, you and I have talked about this. I have told people the best way to handle this is to confront this issue direct. They don't want to do it. They think I'm an asshole for confronting this. How dare you confront these powerful people? How dare you? How dare you?
Where do you think they get their power from? All these cowards are saying what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. Confronting people head on and going after the people that are doing it is what has to happen to ever change anything. But there you go. How dare you? There you go. I would rather throw up the white towel, throw in the white towel.
I don't think a small group of people protesting will,
all
you know,
over
change
Olmsted,
it.
on the north side of Olmsted Falls, these idiots are putting up their, I don't say idiots, people are putting up for sale signs on their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why they're doing it. They think if they can get out of here early enough, they won't have to pay the sewer assessment. And I got news for you. The new owners are going to say, I'll tell you what, I'll buy the house, but you better knock off $30,000 off the price. So either way, you're getting fucked. It doesn't matter because the consumer, the buyer knows the fucking difference.
Yeah.
People think running's better than fighting, you know, and that's what that comes down to, really.
Well, I hope they enjoy running because pretty soon they'll have nowhere to run to and they'll be right in the middle of what they've created for themselves.
But I'm an asshole. They elect this guy that moved to this town for 2 years and he's already the mayor. I've lived here most of my life and I can't get any support because I don't have the wife and kids and the family and the phony structure and a member of this. Listen, Bill, I've seen how this corruption works. Bill, most political campaigns are fraught on phoniness. They're all fake. This is why I don't believe in the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, because we do a very good job on a local level of showing how stupid people are. You don't need Rockefellers and Rothschilds to do this. You just need stupid local people to be ignorant.
Well, unfortunately, ignorance is bliss. And when we come right on down the line, it comes right down to one thing. Even though a Rothschild may have been at the top that started it 10 years ago, all he's doing now is kicking back and not even paying attention because he don't have to, because all these ignorant idiots are just carrying it on.
The
There
mass,
are though.
Bill, I'm telling you right now, honest, law-abiding people or decent people are not considered attractive. It really even Donald Trump is seen as attractive because he's rich and powerful. These dumb hillbillies, these West Virginia Anglo-Saxon hillbillies voted for Trump. Why did they vote for the guy? The guy has no connection with you people at all.
They voted for him because they're racist. Wanted
Well,
to build a wall.
Well, you know what's funny about that? That's all a damn fucking show to begin with, okay?
Mhm.
People just open their dang eyes and realize all these presidents, regardless of what they told you, have carried on the same agenda after another and lied to you over and over and over. And somehow you think that even if Donald Trump loses, there's going to be a different outcome. There's not going to be a different
Yeah.
outcome. They're just going to carry on with what they've always done because they're nothing more than puppets.
These people are dumb enough to think that Donald Trump would actually seriously build a fucking wall.
He's not going to build no friggin' wall.
Well, hold on. Let's get this straight. So Donald Trump's going to build a wall, right? So let's see. Through his whole election, he said he was going to build a wall. He's going to build a wall. He's going to build a wall. While George Soros is over there paying the money to cross the line, to cross the border. Meanwhile, they're coming across the border. There ain't no wall. They're still coming across the border. There ain't no wall. And it's just on and on and on. And so, but that's because their illusion is everything that the television said or what they're told. That's what they want. That's what they want. And that's the illusion. That's the mirage. That's the dream. So, you are in America where you live the American dream. What you didn't know is that's what it is. It's a dream. Wake up and you'll discover it's all there ever was.
I remember in Trump's first year, we had a majority in the Electoral College, and he had a majority in both things. I think it's the Electoral College and maybe the president. See, and then he didn't build a wall in that year, but then he waited to the second year whenever the Democrats had the majority in the Electoral College. Then he tried to push to build a wall, and then he got Parliament shut down or whatever. He run that big stage show.
Yeah.
He's trying to pretend that the Democrats are the ones stopping him building the wall, and he really wanted to. But if he really wanted to, he would have built it in the first year whenever the Republicans had the most seats in the Electoral College.
Yeah, it's just a big shell game.
Yeah, and people are so dumb they fucking believe it. They forget what happened last year.
But I would tell you something right now. I don't know if I'll ever run for political office because in a system like this, where run for political office in my small town where I'm from, if I can't get more votes, just simply from being a veteran, being from this town, and I have to compete with some guy and some woman who aren't from this town, and how play the game, play the political system, I don't know what else there is. I mean, if honesty is not what people are looking for, they're not really looking for people with at least compassion for the people. Like I said, the sewer project is going to probably go through in this last part of Olmsted Falls. And they're already cutting down more oak trees, 50, 75-year-old oak trees to do this project, which is ridiculous. It's making the streets look like shit. They're cutting down every tree to make these supposedly sewers. All it's going to do is make the street look like fucking crap and all the streets around it. But my opinion means nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing because you're not powerful. You're not married. You don't have a wife and children. You don't have millions of dollars in the bank. And that's how people think. That is how psychologically people think, Bill. That is correct. What they think. You're married with a family and you're a millionaire and you can make these decisions. You must be a very smart man.
Well,
This is
you're
how
correct.
this is how heterosexual Americans think. This is how heterosexual Americans that make babies think.
Well,
This
you
is
know what's
what
funny
they
about
think.
this? You know what's funny about this, Steve? Is
Yeah.
as 100% correct as you are. They put Obama in office, who was already gay, and who has his boyfriend named Michael, who
Yeah.
pretended to be Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, you still had to have that wife image, even if it has the wrong plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay, in your face. I mean,
Hmm.
so there you are. But what Steve said is all true. You have to be
Hmm.
married. You have to fit the image society wants you. You got to have millions of dollars in the bank, and you got to be willing to be a good order follower because you need to follow your orders.
No, no, and that's why I don't think that people in a town like I live in are even gonna friggin' matter, Bill, because they 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 go along with these programs, and unfortunately, this nonsense goes around all over the country. And people like me always try to fight the system, but we're always met with these assholes that are heterosexual married couples with kids that or divorce or old elderly couples. Don't you tell me what I need to think. I Young man, you don't know what you're talking about. Don't you tell me. Bill, they frolicked over this guy that moved to this town, and he's all about the money, the pension. He's double dipping into the pension. Um, what I can see is that anybody that gets in politics is looking at several things. Anytime people run for politics, they're looking at getting involved in the political system so they can get a pension from the system. It's huge. If you run, if you're a senator and you win the election, you already have a lifetime pension. Even if it's small, it's still a pension. You know,
Are you part? Yeah.
this is all, it's all self-serving. Just keep it on. And and Bill, I'm not a person to play those games. I don't listen. I'm not mentioning names here. There were a lot of people in Olmsted Falls that ran for political office I didn't agree with, but they won because of the corruption. The corruption is knows no end.
Well, the corruption ain't gonna have an end because nobody ever stood up to the corruption, and they
No,
just keep going right along with it, right along with it. They're gonna go right along with it to the fall of this country and to their own demise. Is what's gonna happen.
right.
You-
Yeah, if we vote for this, there was a guy that ran, a friend of mine that ran for school board, and this person ran for school board, fighting this what's called outcome-based education, and and the people that fight for the best causes are the people that lose today. That's what makes no friggin' sense. The people that are fighting for what is right are losing,
That's
and
correct. That's
and
correct.
it's crazy. And, you know, and don't say, well, no, well, that's not true because Trump fought for what's right. He won. No, Trump did not fight for what was right. He's just a pawn. The people at a local level that fight for what is right usually lose. And the corruption is at every level, and we're not beating it because the egos of people. This is why I don't believe in you don't have to blame the Rockefellers for this. Our egos do it ourselves.
Well, Steve, we could go up to the top and talk about the root cause, but what you said is the real answer in today's society because the people at the top who brought us the problem were so successful at doing it that they'd have to do nothing now because
No, they
all
don't have to
these
do anything.
all
They,
these
no,
egomaniacs are running right on down the line with the corruption and keeping it going.
yeah. So, I got a letter in the mail a couple days ago telling me how the sewer was going to be assessed. And like I said, our septic systems are within code, they work fine. But of course, this is a typical thing going on throughout the country. Anytime a builder wants to build homes and wants to make money, and anytime the sewer district wants to control everything, they decide that they're going to force people onto these sewers, which is bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It has got nothing to do with the pollution issue. It's just
Nope.
another scam to scam money. The regional sewer district in Cuyahoga County wants to take over Columbus, Ohio. They literally want to force rural people between Cleveland and Columbus to jump on their fucking sewers.
Well,
This
yeah,
is how,
you know
yeah,
the
yeah, they want to do this because this is the level to which these utility companies and these builders want to do this shit.
you want to know where
And
it's going next, Steve?
where?
It's going right here. It's going to go right now. It's the sewers, right?
Yeah,
But let's just say you have your own piece of land or whatever. You
yeah,
got your septic system and you got your well.
yeah.
Well,
You're at your well, bro.
the well will be the next thing they'll tell you you're not allowed to own.
Yeah,
That's where they're going. Just like when they're going to force the septic system gone and push in the sewer, they're also going to tell you ain't got a right to the well, the aquifer under your land because it started over here and this rich politician already owns this aquifer and his aquifer runs under your land, so that's his water.
right. And Bill, like I said before, I don't know how. I think here's the wonderful thing is Mother Nature has a way of correcting this all. Ultimately, if this creates a environmental catastrophe, which I believe over time, like the rainforests are a big thing, it will. Say George Carlin said it best. I don't worry about environmentalism because I think that the Earth is going to just hiccup the human race right off the Earth one day. It will. It'll just say, "Fuck you. We've had enough of your shit." And humanity obviously has an effect on the environment at this point. But stupid people protect this shit. Environmentalists, unfortunately, have not been effective enough to stop stupid, ignorant people, like in my town. Oh, well, dude, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. Yeah, yeah, I'm listening to the masses. The masses are so intelligent, Bill. I
Oh
need to
yeah.
listen to the masses. Bill, me and you need to stop thinking for ourselves and listen to the masses because the masses have always been right.
Well, we got to start thinking with that brain in the jar on the shelf, Steve.
Yeah, but you need to start being like the masses because the masses are so much more intelligent.
Yeah. And you know who I feel sorry for the most is the younger generation. I mean, Jay,
Yeah,
Harry
yeah.
over there. Let's look at the reality. This man's 21 years old yet. Okay? He's got a long life ahead of him in a very fucked up world.
Harry, you're a young man.
Yeah. So, well, on the outset, I feel
Harry, I
older.
hate to be Harry, I was upset with you, but then I realized, Harry, you have to live as long as me and Bill to start to, or at least half as long as us, to start putting the pieces together. Me and Bill have seen a lot of shit in our lives.
Yeah, but
We've seen a lot of bullshit. You have to live longer to really see it. And I've seen. I used to be enamored into people that I thought could change the world, and I realized, even Bill Clinton for a while has had me brainwashed, but I never voted for the guy. But I realize now what no, you can't believe that shit.
yeah, definitely. I have a granddad who's 70 something years old, and as I always say to him, anything I've thought of, you've probably already thought of it already, and that's probably mostly true. I think time does give you an awful lot of more
Yeah.
chances to sort of think things through for yourself and have a lot more thoughts.
Yeah,
It's
TFL
true
is
wisdom.
right. TFL is riding in tandem with these problems, Bill. Though I think TFL is just exacerbating the problem with guys. And by the way, do we have any other people that want to get into the voice chat with us besides just us 3 or 4?
Well, Joe was in here, but Joe has never asked to come on Zoom. I
Okay.
would be happy to bring him in. I
Okay.
haven't seen Warren show up yet, but Warren's still able to show up because he works on Saturday night and then he has to walk home.
Okay. I understand. Yeah.
But as well, like younger guys can give a sort of unique perspective as well. If you think about it, I mean,
No. No,
I,
I'm not saying you guys can't. You guys most certainly can. I'm just lamenting, but go ahead. Sorry.
I might have more experience talking to teenagers today, to know like the culture amongst the young people today than you, if you know what I mean. In that way, I don't know how many young people you talk to, but with the whole
I
idea
try
of
to. Well,
TFL,
I don't think
talking,
I can't. I don't think I can talk to any young person without them thinking I'm either a homosexual or a pedophile. Because I mean, let's be honest about this. How many 21-year-olds do I get a chance to, other than being a teacher, like maybe teaching in a trade school? You don't really have many opportunities to talk to younger people. I mean, what other opportunity would afford me to talk to younger people?
I
I mean,
mean, maybe, yeah.
Well,
I'm
that's
thinking about it.
actually a
I
true.
would say
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
it would
well,
have
let
to
me
be
ask you a
during your
question,
job,
Bill.
like,
You and I have talked about my teaching career, okay? As somebody who's taught in a trade school, what other opportunity would be afforded to me to just lecture to some 18, 22-year-old woman or man? You know, I
yeah,
mean, it's
there was,
like they wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole. They saw me at the gym. They'd think, "Look at that weirdo, what a pedophile." You know, I mean,
yeah, a
that's
lot of
about
them
the
do
best
think
we
that.
can do. Our society is so fucked up. It's not funny. We we Bill, we get creeped out. Bill, think about it this way: we get creeped out because people are creeped out by us. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
We get creeped out because somebody feels creepy. Oh my God, they feel
Yeah,
creepy. I'm now
creeped out
feeling
because
creepy.
somebody feels
That's how
creepy.
bad it's getting. Now you have to be our
Mm,
age to understand it. But
yeah,
younger people, I mean, I don't know any other than teaching field. I know no other younger people that would interact with me other than people that I'm authority over. Hey,
mm,
listen, get the
yeah,
fuck out of my classroom if you can't do the job. But I don't do that.
yeah.
Do
Well, I used to work in a warehouse, like, and there's a 41-year-old guy in there, and all of us younger guys, we'd talk to him. He's a pretty cool guy. We'd have conversations with him. He'd even
Yeah,
drive a few of us home if he was going past the area. So,
yeah.
he was really, we were all sad to see him go whenever he finally left the job. But we all talked to him a lot, and
Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty cool. But
But yeah, but
yeah,
let's face the fact. I go to the gym. I don't think in a million years I could expect a woman in her early mid 20s to talk to me, even on a non-physical basis. It's impossible. And not even just that. Even with guys, I mean, guys are. I mean, it's just we live in a dick-headed society. I mean, it's like I even gave up in this point. I thought about this other day. Well, maybe you need to get out to the bars more. Maybe you need to get out to the clubs. No, I don't need to get to the bars and the clubs more. I need to stay at home on a Friday night or a Saturday night because in reality, that is not going to help you.
yeah, bars and clubs, as you as they're sausage fests anyway. Like,
Yes, but there's even worse than that. They're yeah, they're sausage fest, but the women now are segregating themselves. Even like I've noticed in the Cleveland area, in the Cleveland, Ohio, Cuyahoga County, there are more women in these bars now, but now they're becoming more segregated where the women just kind of gravitate in their own section and that's it. Fucking women all
hmm,
see men as hostile, so fuck it. Why even bother? Why would I waste my money, spend $3.75 on a Corona when I can buy a fucking 12 pack? Right now they got a
12 pack.
sale. Dos Equis beer is on sale for $9.99 with the $4 rebate. Yeah, I'll go for that before I fucking waste $4 on a fucking beer in a fucking bar, piece of shit bar
Yeah,
that
dude.
doesn't get any conversation, no pussy, no male camaraderie, nothing of that. No, I'll stay home and drink before I waste my fucking money in your shithead bar.
Yeah, you can have pretty good times drinking. Like, I know
No,
that.
fucking
So
bars are a waste of money. I mean, bars were great when you could spend your money but have a good time. But if you're not having a good time, I might as well just I might as well just stay home and drink.
Yeah, because you're gonna go to a bar and if the
yeah,
women are segregated, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do? Sit up at the
yeah,
counter or sit at a table by yourself?
yeah. Look like a loser. Oh, she's already prejudged you and scanned you out. You're a loser.
Yeah. Or
mind you, like,
maybe you could approach them at the table. Which one of you ladies would like, oh shit, that was sexual harassment?
I do have a few, Chad friends who'd be like a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. They get approached at the bar by some woman, I'd classify as 4 out of 10. So, I mean, women will still approach the really hot looking guys, like, in some cases.
Well, I don't see it because I don't go to the bars much. But I tried to get back into the bar scene like a few months ago, and I of course I went there. I just sat down and I kind of I spent like maybe $20 American dollars, and I thought, what does a guy got to do to sit there and get any like socialization? Like you sit there, even the male bartender wasn't being friendly with me. Like it wasn't like he was
Mm.
trying to get extra tip money from me by being friendly. And I thought, fuck it. And I left the guy $3 and I thought, no, I'm not leaving these people anything. And then I thought, well, if I'm not going to leave them anything, why even go to the bar? So I decided if I'm going to go to a bar with the idea of not leaving a tip, I might as well just not go there at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to create conflict by not leaving a tip because I'm a good tipper. But if my intention is to not leave a tip because of shitty service, maybe I just don't go there. You know.
Yeah, it's incredibly, brave enough, I think, to go to a bar by yourself. I'd only go if there was others with me. Like I've never been by myself, like, but
No, it ain't to me nothing. You know, you're sitting at the bar, you're playing on your phone. And listen, I know guys have done this too. I'm sitting on my playing on my phone watching videos, and nobody's engaging me in conversation. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here at this place? And I finally got the impression that no, I'm at the wrong place. You're not the one who's crazy. You're at the wrong place. Don't go to bars. They're not giving you what you want. Let the women sit alone and segregate themselves. Fuck that shit. You know what? Let them segregate themselves because they can play with themselves and segregate themselves all they want to because that's what
right.
women are doing in bars now. There are 50, 60% of the population now in bars are women, but they're all segregated. They all want to be in their one side. And I don't want that shit. If that's the case, fuck that. You know.
Yeah, in my country, like bars are closing down, so definitely
Now let
what you're
these
saying,
bars close down. Let these bars know why things suck today. Well, we don't really know what's going on. We really don't know. Fuck it. I'm not spending my listen. I can watch a Cleveland Browns game at home. I can watch it on NFL Network on the internet. I don't need to go to a fucking bar to watch a Cleveland Browns game. God damn it. You
That
know.
would,
well,
yep, I understand
yeah,
what
it'd be
you're
more
I don't
quiet
need
saying.
to
at
go to
home,
a
better
bar
screen,
where
better view.
most guys are going to ignore me anyways, and you know, it's bullshit. It's like I can watch a if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I can watch it at home. If I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, I can watch it at home. I don't need to be in a fucking bar watching it. You get treated like shit anyways.
But you're just
The women
gonna,
will.
what you'd be doing
They
is
do.
going to a bar and giving them your money to be treated like dirt.
Yeah, right. Well, that's how NFL stadiums are. They charge you $10 for a beer, $100 to park your car in a government subsidized stadium, a taxpayer subsidized stadium, to be treated like a piece of shit. Fuck that. I just stay at home. At least
Yeah,
beer companies now have to give $4 or $5 rebates on their beer to get you to buy their beer. That's a good deal. You get to stay at home and stay off the streets and buy a 18 pack of Labatt beer for $12.50 or something. I mean, it's unbelievable. Or a 424 pack for $13. Yeah, it's worth it now. It's a good deal, but it ain't a good deal when you go out to these stadiums or a bar and you spend all this money. The women treat you like shit. The men treat you like shit. I mean, fuck this
mm,
shit. I'm not putting up with this crap anymore. You are not getting me to go to a bar and sit there hoping that some woman will talk to me. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing it. Fuck you. Fuck your bar. You can take your bar and
I like that. I like that.
shove it up
Yeah.
your ass. Oh, but you can get wings. Oh, really? Wings for 75 cents? It used to cost 10 cents. I can buy a bag of wings for $8 for 32 ounces. I can cook them in my oven and I can drink a 6-pack at home and watch the fucking game. Fuck your
Steve,
wings.
Steve, I want to throw something at you.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
emotional.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
know. You know how you get that woman to pay attention to you in the bar
Yeah, how's that?
when she texts you.
Yeah, and I tell you another thing. Bill and I talked about this. These goddamn women nowadays. Tell me your life story, but tell me in the text. Can you text me? Can you text me? No, the last failure of the dating scene happened about a month ago, and this girl wanted me to text me my name, address, everything. I went through this whole. I jumped through these hoops with this bitch. I'm sick and
mm,
tired of this shit. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm not jumping through hoops anymore. Fuck your
yeah,
texting. You could take your texting and shove it up your ass. No, I don't want to text. You talk to me on the phone. We are not texting. You are talking to me. That is the only thing I'm going to do is talk to you, not text. Fuck you.
yeah. It's like,
Hey,
uh,
hey, Bill,
Hey,
it's Dave. I've just checked in a couple of minutes ago.
hey, that's
Take this,
good. That's
take this
good.
from a guy that's nearly 50, not some 19-year-old kid like Red Pill piece of shit Brotherhood that
Uh-huh.
that dumbass that dumped his channel. He acted like he knew his destiny, and the fucker's already gone.
Hey, so how are you, Dave?
Oh, I'm doing good, Bill. Thanks for asking. How you doing, Steve? Now, who's the other guy,
Doing
Jay?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay. How you
Jay,
doing?
how you doing, Jay?
Oh,
I'm doing great.
dude, you need to get
Had
jacked,
a
dude.
few cigarettes
Dude.
and a few beers, like so. Good
Yeah.
night. Bit of rain.
Drink at home, and you know,
Oh,
I'm telling you, screw that shit. I mean, just stay the fuck out of the bars. They're a waste of money. I had seriously thought about going to a bar tonight, and I says no. I got plenty.
yeah.
I can get a 12-pack. I can get a freaking a case of beer with a rebate for like $15. A high quality Labatt beer. I don't need this shit. I don't need to be wasting my friggin' money at a fucking bar. Fuck your bar. Take your bar and shove it up your ass. And take your
like
75
well,
cent wings. I can buy a bag of wings. I could cook something up for a fraction of that. And I'm not getting any pussy. I'm not getting any value for my money in your shitty ass bar.
They
And
might be a turd that fell out your, you know what? You got to put them
Yep.
back in there.
Oh, Bill, I'm telling you right now, people like us need to fucking ramp it up. We don't need to. We need to ramp this motherfucker up. It's
all
not
I
enough
can
that.
say is
Go ahead.
I don't think I've hung out in a bar in probably a good 20 years, Steve.
Well,
don't know,
good for you, but you're a little bit unique. Okay, I'm not anti-alcohol. What I'm against is the alcohol scene as it applies to the idea that you're going to meet friends and pussy, and women are going to throw themselves, and you're going to meet your woman, and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
You know what? Nobody's having a good time today. Go to any bar in any major city like Cleveland or Detroit, and you see all these decent-looking guys sitting alone,
Right.
sitting alone. They're all sitting alone. It's never a vibrant social scene between men and women. It's just women sitting on one side of the fucking restaurant, men are sitting on the other, and it's like a bullshit. I mean, I just don't want to pay for the shit anymore. I don't want to accept it. It's normal. It's just the way that it is. Fuck you. Okay, if it's a way that it is, then I'll drink at home or I'll party at home. Well, I'll do whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The
Assholes.
bars,
Yeah, you can take your
the
bars.
bars are depressing.
The bars are depressing. There's nothing to gain from the bar. You get treated like a piece of shit, but you spend 4 times for a beer, and you risk getting you either take an Uber, which is expensive. I mean, it's not expensive, but I mean, you're spending more money. You'd be better off just drinking at home and fucking around with this stuff. And it's like these guys, I think the bar scene, it is the biggest, it's the worst time to be in the bar scene than now. I mean, there is no chance whatsoever for a single guy to hook up with a single woman for a telephone number, a date, sex, whatever. There's no that game died 30 years ago.
Oh, well, Steve,
Yeah,
you got to get on Tender where you can be tenderly turned down.
Yeah, can be yeah. You fucking assholes. These people think like I'm an asshole because I call out this. Well, dude, you need to do this, dude. You need to do this, dude. Fuck you.
You are looking to get fucked though. Tinder is the best place for it.
Oh, fuck you. I take your Tinder and shove it up your
Better
ass.
than the bars.
Listen, if Tinder has you can get on Tinder for free or you can pay. If you can't at least get once in a while a phone number for free, there's no point in paying for Tinder. Listen, you can swipe Tinder like 30 times a day for free. If you don't get a response, then what's the point of paying for the unlimited swipes when you're already not getting any responses,
Right. You've done 30 swipes and didn't get one response out of 30.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to change after you give them some money? No, now
Yeah.
you swiped 1,000 times and still have no response.
Yeah, it's all fucking bullshit. Oh, these people can shove it up their ass. They really can. I'm not buying into their bullshit. And yes, I've thought about going to the bars, but then I realized why waste my money? I can have a bigger time. I can spend $8 a year Listen, I can. There's a lot of things I can spend my money on than this bullshit. You know, fuck your bars. Oh, the bar, dude. You can make. Oh, dude, the bar. Fuck your bars. Shove your bar up your asshole.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, they treat you like a piece of shit. The barmaids are shitty to you. The guys are shitty to you. Why do you want to sit there and waste your money in a bar?
Yeah, the nightclubs are even worse.
Oh yeah, the nightclubs. Yeah, you ain't getting any pussy in that place. You, listen, there's no I don't know how people are meeting today. I think there's a combination of a lot of things. People are in pre-selected groups, and who knows what's going on. But if you're not hooked up with anybody now, you're not getting hooked up anytime soon.
And then if you do get hooked up, good luck keeping it together, because most likely you'll be treated like dirt. You'll be treated like
Yeah.
shit, and that's what you better get used to, because that's your new love.
Hey, Bill, the dating scene has gotten so bad now that even women with HPV have got standards. Can you imagine? Women with HPV got standards. No woman with the sexually transmitted disease deserves to have standards. There's unless
No
you're
fucking way.
unless your standard is I only want a guy that's got HIV or HPV, then I could see maybe there is a standard,
Well, maybe her standards should be stay as far away from us as we can keep her.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe her standards are to protect us,
Yeah, by staying the hell away from us.
Yeah,
If
that's
I
what's
lived
causing
that,
this epidemic of guys getting oral cancer right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have no sympathy for actors like Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. That guy looks like shit now. You see that guy 20 something 30
Yeah.
25 years ago, he had the real the really thick lips, like he was a heartthrob. That guy looks like a piece of shit now.
Yeah, he looks like a walking dead man.
Yeah, Google Val Kilmer 2019.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks like a horrible. He looks like a mess. He's got oral cancer, and he's been eating. These guys are such pussy beggars. They've been eating pussy that's got HPV and all that other shit.
Well, there they go, man. They had themselves some rotten dessert.
Yeah, they had to put their face between the punani.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what? You know what it tells you, though, Bill? No matter how much money and fame you have, the universe is the great equalizer.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great equalizer.
I always laughed at
there's
it for years because I had this thought in my head about, man,
Yeah.
just think about it. We're all over here, not Steve and I, worshiping where somebody urinates and bleeds at, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
For those rich these people like Val Kilmer, there's no taking that that money and fame to the grave either,
Yeah, but he's not going to get rid of that HPV. He's got it all over his body. He's got it in his throat.
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
I believe that crap because down there in Florida where my one address was at, we had hookers that hung up at the end of the street. And this is where the hooker at. And that one day I saw this hooker and it was so clear and plain. She had that shit all over her damn lips and her mouth. So
Oh my God.
he can imagine the next guy that he thinks he's getting head from her, where he's gonna have down there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't wish that on anybody, but it's inevitable that they're going to get it because, these guys are so pussy addicted. And yeah, let them have it. Let them have that pussy. Let them, and same thing with the women. Let them have that AIDS infected dick because that's what they want, and they get what they deserve.
Yeah, they get
I
what
met
they
a woman
want.
who had HPV or whatever, and she was so delusional. She was saying she didn't like sex, and all the guys just used her. And she fucking was going around fucking dudes on Tinder.
She probably still had standards like you're not good enough to fuck me, put my HPV pussy. I mean, this is how bad it's been. Like these HPV women now, and this is a funny thing. The last time that I was on a potential sexual date, this is 2011. I met this girl that had HPV, and I didn't know until like toward the end. She told me, we never had sex, but I told her, I was freaked out about it. I said, look, I'd have to wear a condom. But here's the point: is that this same girl now probably could get a multitude of dicks now. She would have guys lined up. So in 10 years or 9 years, 8 years, whatever, you're seeing a change of the guard big time. Guys are getting so desperate for pussy, it's not funny. It's so
Yeah.
pathetic how desperate they are. This girl now could just command that pussy. Like, I don't care. I got plenty of dicks lined up for this HPV pussy.
Yeah, no, I was hanging out with her, like one of her female friends in the bar, and she was saying, men had to up their game to get a girl like her. And I was fucking thinking,
Up
who the
the
fuck
game to
wants
get a
her
girl with
HPV?
HPV. And I
Didn't
swear to
say
God,
it.
I'm totally convinced that in this day and age, a modern day virgin who'd never been had pussy in his life would take the risk of getting HPV just to get laid. Just to get laid. I think that's how bad it's getting.
Fuck, some of them would.
I
No, not
wouldn't put
some
it
of them.
past
I
them.
think most of them would. I think most of them would. That's how bad these guys are today. They deserve it. I don't want this crap. I mean, I'm gonna get HPV. I got mouth cancer, throat cancer, penis cancer. Who needs that shit?
Well,
No.
don't worry, Steve. If
Yeah.
they get penis cancer, then they can become what they always wanted to be, a girl.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's completely crazy, but it is that desperate anymore. It really is.
Well, that's how it's going in this society,
And it's
and
only going to get worse.
this worship of vagina and this worship of women is only getting worse. Although it's not like this in other countries. I think, Bill, I think I disagree with you on some things. Like in the Philippines, women still are somewhat isolated from this freakishness.
I
Not
would I would agree with the Philippines, what you said. The only part of the Philippines I would disagree would be if you talked about Manila.
Manila, yeah, I know. Manila's more, but like if you think about it, there are still areas of the world that are not affected by this crazy behavior. Okay, this behavior is typical of America and Canada and Great Britain and the English-speaking world. Most I know it. I'm not saying it's not like that in other countries, but America and Great Britain and Canada, we are vagina obsessed, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, unless something happens and changes. I mean, nothing's. God, if a woman with 15 sexually transmitted diseases has got options, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, I think it's pretty much. I mean, there's not many things you can
Well,
say. If a woman,
Steve, you figure out she's 450 pounds, okay, ugly as the back end of a jackass, and she has HPV, and she still has choices.
yeah, she's still got choices. Scrotal sacks are a dime a dozen nowadays.
I think it's more like 2 cents a dozen.
Yeah, or yeah, they're 2 cents a dozen.
I mean, of course,
Stupid
it's going
dude.
to get a little bit more expensive after you spent the 2 cents because when you go to
Yeah,
the doctor, he's not going to charge you 2 cents.
yeah. He'll just charge it to the taxpayers.
For some of the people, it happened. For the other people, oh my God, I'm in debt all because I took that date. And now look at me, I'm all messed up because I took that date. And I'm like, well, you can take the date, go to bed, and get all messed up, or you could get a relationship and be treated lower than dirt and be all messed up. Which one you want?
Bill, I'm telling you one thing about guys that are living TFL. I don't think that most guys have any control of this problem.
They
They
don't.
really don't. They have none. That is not about. It's got nothing to do with your low self-esteem. This is something that is endemic within the system we live in, and it is something that this male hatred is off the Richter scale, ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
Well,
Okay.
sure,
is.
women with low self-esteem can get laid, right?
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, but it's not. It's like there's an attitude with it too. Like there's this attitude that you're evil just for finding a woman attractive. I mean, I don't even want to get into all these details and these anecdotes, but I've observed a lot of things in my life and friends of mine, and there's no doubt that there's something seriously. There's something in the water. I mean, I don't mean it literally something in the water, but I mean like there's something going on.
yeah. It is, and the sad thing is, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Somebody goes, well, it can't get worse. Watch, it will.
Oh no! It's going to get worse when they start demanding financial reparations. When they have an all male, single male tax, a TFL tax. You're
Oh
a guy
yeah,
living.
I can see
You're a
that.
guy living TFL by no fault of your own, and you're required to pay a tax.
I
Yeah,
can
there will be.
TFL tax.
I can see him doing that, man. I
Yeah.
really can. I can see that materializing.
Hell, they might even name it after you, the Bill Greathouse tax.
No, don't go there.
Or the Steve Hogan tax. I don't care. They can call it whatever they want, Bill. But the thing is that this problem that is going on in the world. Listen, Bill, I only live once. I might as well just address it. I'm not pretending that I'm imagining this. I'm not imagining this shit at all, because all I have to do is be objective and look around me. Look at TV. They're celebrating 21 years of Law and Order SVU. Law and Order SVU is nothing but male bashing. That's all that show's ever been.
Wow,
Okay?
welcome to Lifetime Network.
Yeah, they're celebrating this. So what does this have to do with me personally? I have nothing to do with this. My existence has nothing to do with 21 years of Law and Order
No, it
SVU.
doesn't. And what you're witnessing is what I say about Lifetime Network. It's
Yeah.
nothing but male bashing.
Well, that's not Lifetime. That's NBC.
I understand that, but see, it's like a disease.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime Network's been around a long time, and they do nothing but male bash, right?
Yeah,
And-
that's true. They exceeded that. They were the first network to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a disease. It's spreading.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, Mariska Hargitay is a fucking loser. The only role that she's ever played is that role. That's her only role she's ever played in her entire life, is that fucking role, Olivia Benson. That's her only claim to fame. Like, that's her definition of who she is as a person.
Okay,
is
so
Olivia Benson.
her fame is, look at me, I'm male bashing.
Yeah. For 21 fucking seasons. I'm moving into season 21 of male bashing heterosexual men who want to get some pussy. That's like bullshit, man.
It's
Bill.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Steve, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what do we do about it? Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah.
That's what everybody does about what's going on. Nothing.
Nothing. Right.
So
We just learn to cope with it and go on.
That's what you have to do, because you're not going to change it, because people don't want to change it.
Nope. Not at all.
And the people that do want to change it don't stand a chance in hell.
No.
Yeah.
Not enough of them. Not nearly enough.
I mean, this is what it comes down to is, I said this years ago, and I'll always stick with it. If you're born with a hole between your legs, you got it made. If you're born with a penis between your legs, get ready, because you've been born to be screwed. And don't worry, you're not getting no lube, and you're not getting a kiss.
Yeah, I fucking understood that whenever I was 11 years old. I remember my fucking dad told me, women rule the world, basically, they control the kids after a divorce, man gets fucked.
Well, they do. They even take all the friends, all the people that were the couples friends, the married couples that hang out together all them years. Well, once you're divorced, all of the woman has all the friends. All of your married friends, even the guys, throw you under the bus.
I used to get really angry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like women were the victim.
And do you want to know why the guys side with? Do you want to know why the guys always side with the woman? Because the woman gets all the vagina when she leaves the marriage. I mean, think about it. These guys think that they're the next heir in line to that. Guys are stupid. Fucking guys are pathetic. Even MGTOW guys think this way too. This is what bothers me, Bill. Even MGTOW guys think this way. They all think pussy's up around the corner for them. They're all like this. Even the fucking MGTOW is the most gynocentric people of them all. They're more gynocentric than even blue pill guys.
Yeah, it's around the corner, all right? Around that corner, and the next corner, and the next corner, and you're still looking.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It really isn't. I mean, it's to a point anymore where It doesn't matter who you're with, Michelle. My chances are it's not going to work because you're going to have nothing but drama.
Right.
But you know,
Yeah.
it's I've taken that philosophy onto the extreme. You know, sometimes dudes invite me out to a fucking bar and I just reject them. I just stay fucking home. You know, I've grown to the stage where I like being fucking alone so much. You know, I'd fucking choose to be alone. You know, I really
Yeah,
enjoy that
I don't know
fucking
if I
much.
believe you. I don't know if I'm agreeing. You're telling me women are hitting on you and want to go to bed with you?
No. My guy friends would invite me out to a bar and I'd just be like, no, I'm gonna
Oh
stay in
no,
tonight.
your gay friends. Yeah, gay guys are pretty forward. At least gay guys are open about their sexuality.
No, not gay, no guy friends. You know, just like
Guy
my
friends.
mates.
Oh, guy friends. Okay.
My
Okay.
mates just like
Okay.
sometimes instead of going out with my mates, I just fucking stay at home. I enjoy that fucking
No,
bar. You
fuck
know?
that. Yeah.
I'm getting to that fucking stage where I enjoy being alone so much I don't
Well,
fucking go out with
you're
friends
not.
anymore.
Look at it this way: you're not going to get any pussy at the bar,
No.
and they treat you like a piece of crap for spending 4 or 8 pounds or 10 pounds on a freaking overpriced beer. So you get treated like a piece of shit. So why even bother with that crap? I mean, listen, we got these beer sales going around in Northeast Ohio. You can get a 12 pack of Dos Equis beer for $10 with a rebate now. What's a better deal? Going to a bar and spending $5 on a beer, or I can drink if I want to get drunk. Listen, this stuff is bullshit. I can drink at home. I can smoke at home. I smoke cigarettes. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I mean, it's just bullshit. I mean, through the bar, no pussy.
Well, Steve, speaking of beer, I bought some of that Yingling Light that you like. I bought like a 12 pack.
Yeah, that's not
you still
bad
drink
beer.
that stuff?
That's actually not bad beer. I'm actually, we have it there. Yeah, the Yingling Light's real popular here, but it's made in Pennsylvania. It's pretty good. But like you can get like an 18 pack or a 24 pack of that for $18, but they have like these $4 rebates. You can get it like for $14, $15. So I'm like, what am I do? Listen, I've said this before. Screw the bar scene. I tried to go back to the bar scene to see maybe it would work this time, but it's just, I sat down there. All these women segregate themselves. They all live. The first thing, there are more women in the bars now than there were in the past, but they're all segregated. They're all like in their own groups. Like you ain't walking in that group and talking to them. Fuck that.
Right. You're just gonna blow through your paycheck and just make yourself miserable in the long run hanging around the bars. You know?
Yeah, and even the male bartenders are not being real friendly, and it's like, well, I'm going to leave the guy $4, and I leave the guy $4, and I think, okay, well, the next time I said I'm not going to leave him anything, and I thought, well, if I'm not going to leave him anything, why even go back there?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. If I'm not going to leave the guy anything, well, maybe I just don't need to go back there.
Yeah, but maybe like he hates his job so much he can't even be. He doesn't even have the energy to put a smile into it.
Yeah.
He doesn't fucking deserve the money.
I'm not like asking the guy for his phone number, but it's like bars are there's nobody's getting laid in the bar scene anymore. Now I'm not saying that should be the reason, but nobody's getting laid at the bar anymore. I can tell you that right now. Nobody's getting laid. I guarantee you, even Chad isn't getting laid at the bar anymore.
Well, I was at a bar here before I left Minnesota.
Yeah.
And they have karaoke on there once a month on Saturday night.
Chad's not getting laid.
And I went into that bar, and there was lots of people, including women there. But what I did notice is the only women in the bar already came in either segregated in groups, or they came in with the guy already in their arms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're either segregated or there is no intermediate. Listen, I remember even before I was old enough to drink, I remember like going to the bar with my dad. My dad owned a music store in Cleveland, and I remember going to the bar with my dad. I remember like couples were rampant, like you'd see lots of guys and girls meeting. See, my dad had this argument with me many years ago. He tried to convince me that the bar scene was all about guys getting laid. But what he didn't understand was the bar scene had changed by the late 90s, and it was starting to become more and more segregated, sausage infested. And he was like, no, that's not true. Back then, my music store was across the street from this and that. And those guys and girls were always there to get laid. And that was like 1986 or 87, but things had obviously had changed in 10, 12 years, and things were getting different. So for him to argue that with me, and of course things have gotten much, much, much worse than 1997. I mean, it's to the point now where it's laughable to think you can even get an ugly woman to show you any attention, even a
Well,
fucking 300-pound land whale to show you any attention.
Yeah,
actually, like,
definitely agree with you, Steve, on
Yeah.
that one. It's
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't even
I'm
get a
pretty.
400-pound land whale. Not that I'd want
Yeah.
that, but you can't even get that woman to find you attractive. I mean, it's
Because I
fucking
can remember
ridiculous.
going to, yeah, I can remember going to the bars with my dad when I was about that, when I was a teenager, like
Yeah.
16, 17 years old, like 86,
Yeah.
87. People just seemed to mingle a lot more back then, you
Oh
know.
my God. It was like, listen, the girls had those puffy hairstyles, and oh my God, it was like a different race of women. It was not only just women with different hairstyles, it was like a different genetic race. It
It
was
was.
like a different, and it's like, it's hard to believe we all descend from these women that had kids, these fucking millennials, and these fucking millennials that fuck things up. They're the biggest fucking losers, millennials. And I know there's a lot of people that hate me for saying this, but I hate millennials. I fucking hate them. I don't hate them all, but I really despise some millennials. They have really exacerbated this problem majorly.
yeah, I hate most millennials too.
And well, you're a millennial
Yeah,
yourself, but like me and Robert, is it your name Robert or John? I'm sorry. What is it?
I'm just Harry. Harry.
No, you're Harry, but what was the other guy's name?
Dave.
Oh,
Dave.
Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. Dave, you and I are both Gen Xers. We are Gen Xers by over 10 years, meaning the last Gen
Right.
X was born in 1982. So we're 1969, 1970. We're like the first few years of the Gen Xers. So we were fucked. We were totally screwed over. We did not get to see that sexual revolution. We never experienced that.
So I say, what they calling me?
Right.
What they calling me? A baby boomer?
You're a late baby
Baby
boomer, but
boomer.
but what I'm saying, Dave, is we never experienced that environment.
Late 60s, that like late 60s era.
Right. Well, we never got to experience any of that. I mean, who are our role models were groups like Nirvana. I mean, Nirvana to me was not, that was all regional. Nirvana was like this band from Seattle, and we never
Right.
got
That grunge.
yeah, we were never really, the Gen Xers never had really a sexual revolution. We were fucked. If
Right.
you're,
I know. I kind of just grew up on like Van Halen and those kind of like old school rock, rock bands like that.
if you didn't, if the Gen Xers that I know, if you didn't get married I know Gen Xers that got married, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously it's not fair to say Gen Xers never married, but the problem is that if you didn't have a social clique that got married, it's very difficult to do. I think
Mhm.
TFL is much bigger with Gen Xers than any group right now. Although I think millennials are experiencing, but Gen Xers got a big brunt of the TFL.
And what is
Yeah.
the Dave's generation that would that Jay's falling into, or Harry?
Well, your Harry is still a Gen Xer, but like if you're born in 2001 and beyond, that's called you're called Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Definitely.
Generation Z.
Generation Z.
They're called the 9/11. They're the 9/11, the post 9/11 babies.
Okay.
I always think it's generation, Z, because it's the last letter of the alphabet. It's the last generation, be born, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. What is Generation X stand from?
Generation X. Generation X is like 1983 to 2000. That was that.
No, Generation X.
Generation X.
Generation.
Okay, Generation X is 65 to 82.
Okay, there you go.
And so if you were born at the very latest 82, you'd be a Gen Xer. So I guess you could say like Alex Anzari, I watch his videos. He's a Gen Xer technically. Me and you, Dave, are like early Gen Xers. We're like the first 5 years of Gen Xers.
Right, because we were both born the same year, 1970.
Yeah, yeah. I was born. You were born in 70 or 71 or 69.
70. Yeah, July 1970.
Oh, okay. You're almost okay. So you just turned 49. Okay, I'll be 49 in October. So we're Gen Xers, and we were kind of like one of the things that the complaints that like a lot of Gen Xers in our age group talk about is we never got to experience that sexual revolution. It was like
Hmm.
we kind of got by the time we were 2021, things were already changing.
Right.
22.
Yeah, I could notice a change starting to happen probably like late. I would say like late 80s, probably like after like 19, right around 89 or 90. Yes, I kind of noticed
Yeah,
the kind of thing.
89 was still doable as far as like if you wanted to land an average looking chick at the bar, you could still do it. It wasn't that
Mhm.
impossible, but like now you can't even land a land whale at the bar anymore. You can't
Yeah,
even land a fucking land whale.
yeah, it's a horror show out there. It's
Yeah,
horrendous.
a fucking land whale, a 300-pound overweight slob at the fucking gym
Yeah.
has got more power than a good looking Chad working out with his weights. I mean, it's fucking
Yeah,
pathetic.
right. Like last week when we were on this when we were talking, I was talking about a date that I had about 10 years ago. And this
Yeah.
girl, she was overweight, and she's the one
Yeah.
that was, she's making a minimum wage job, baking cookies,
Yeah.
And she, I show up at the date, and here she is, she didn't realize I had hair loss, and now she starts saying all these offensive things to me, and just things to really offend. And I just says to her, I actually walked out on her. What I said to her, I says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back." And I got up and I just found a door on the other side of the restaurant. And I jumped in my car and I left.
No, you're smart. You got out of that with dignity. You did. Did she try to text you back and say where'd you go?
No, she didn't. She never had my I don't think she ever had my number. I had her number. She actually gave me her number. All right.
Yeah.
And that was the funny thing about it. And then she sees that after her complimenting me in all these ways, and then she sees that I have hair loss, whoop-de-doo, all of a sudden I'm no good.
Well, did she say that to you directly or?
No, but I could
Fucking
tell.
hell.
I mean, as soon as, because she didn't see me, because I would stop into her where she worked, and this was like in the winter time, so it was like really cold, and I had a winter hat on. And then I was thinking, like, I just had a feeling like when she sees me without my hat on, is she gonna still feel the same way? And as soon as she saw that, I just saw her look right at the top of my head, and like with this look of resentment on her face. And that was I was pretty tired. It took every bit of energy I had not to throw a drink in her face. So
Right.
I just made it like hey, I'm going to the bathroom.
You don't
I was out of
don't
there,
throw it in her face. You accidentally, on purpose, spill it in her lap.
Fucking have a bit of hair loss myself. It fucking sucks.
I mean, honestly, God, it is very temperamental. I don't see any situation where women will fight for a man's attention today. I don't see it. I don't see it happening because even like I remember the dating scene where you could be on your worst behavior and still have the girl interested in you. Like nowadays, everything is about you trying to do everything like you're walking on thin ice and you don't want to break that ice. That is what dating is like. And it is bad. It is really bad. And I'm not talking good looking women. Oh, the skinny, slender, hot looking women. I'm talking fucking women that are fucking 100 pounds overweight, have got these standards. Like they act like life. They've got plenty of options. And God forbid if they already have kids, it's all over because they have no real biological need to be around you. They already got their kids.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You can't even trust these Christian women. They're all liars. I've been the last 2 dates I went with. I've been on 5 dates with 2 different women, and both of them claim to be born again Christians. It doesn't matter. They've still got all these idiosyncratic bullshit going on with them, it doesn't matter. It does not make a difference whatsoever.
Yeah, our last commenter, media guy, he's correct. TFL will not end in any of our lifetimes.
No, it won't. It won't. By the way, what are the
No.
comments reading? And Bill, I'm not in front of the comments. What's going on in the comment section?
Well, it's slowed down some. We got media guys that's been commenting mostly recently.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we still got like 21 viewers, but not too many people are typing. Most, I think, are just listening.
Yeah. 21's not a lot, but
No, it's not, but I'm not here about the numbers. My idea is to try to draw the TFLers into open conversation and to give them something every week they can look forward to being here. And then, of course, for the ones that want, I would love to see them come into the show and express their feelings and what they've lived.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose by calling into the show. You know, you don't have to give them your face or anything like that. You know,
No,
no one's
I
going
mean,
to identify you just from your voice. You know, don't be scared. Bill's nice.
I'm kind of
Steve's nice.
surprised that Warren hasn't
Steve's
joined in
nice.
yet.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen Warren show up, and most time he would have been here by now. So I can't say what's going on with him for sure.
Well, what was Steve talking about there earlier? I can't fucking remember. I wanted to say something.
What, the bar scene or what?
Yeah, maybe, man. I can't really fucking remember. I think all this beer is getting in my head or something.
Well, Steve had a really good rant tonight, and what Steve said has all been true, though. I like it. I like it when Steve got wound up and said it just for what it was. When he said "fuck it," that's exactly it.
Yeah,
Definitely speaking his mind tonight.
That's the attitude I'm in, like, because I take that to the fucking extreme. Though I've gotten to the stage where I'm too comfortable being fucking alone, and I think I gotta fucking start doing some fucking stuff, just because I don't know why but like I enjoy being fucking alone so much. It's like fuck, I gotta do something. People are telling me I gotta go and fucking get some more stuff done. So.
Oh, dude, you need to get out there and get ripped more, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's like, how much more shit do you have to listen to? Listen, any advice from a PUA is bullshit advice. These PUAs are popping up all over the place. Not that PUA hasn't been on life support, but come on, Bill, we've been watching this for 20 years of PUA and nothing has changed.
Oh, not a damn thing's changed. Hey, I like my last commenter, Timothy says, most guys are out there chasing, a drama dream. And I like that because the reality is that's what you're going to run right into. Head first, the minute you hook up, is drama.
Yeah, hey, Steve, are you still hitting the gym?
Uh-oh. Let's look and see if he's here.
Yeah. Might have stepped out for a minute.
But just Dave, I am hitting the gym. I'm doing marathon training, but I'm kind of slow right now. But I am hitting the gym. But I don't think the gym matters as far as your ability to get a woman. It's not going to change it. It's not going to change it at all. I could go to the gym and pump iron. They're not interested.
Right.
They're just not interested.
Right. No, that's amazing that you're still doing marathon training. That your knees and your hips are still. Because I used to be a distance runner myself, and I can still jog pretty good. But
yeah, I've run 29 marathons, never dropped out of one.
Wow, 29. Wow.
Yeah.
I ran.
Some people
I've run 4. I've run Boston 4 times. But those
you
are
ran
the only
Boston?
marathons
You
I've
actually
run.
ran Boston?
Yeah, so I live in Boston. Well, I live just outside of Boston.
Okay, but did you actually qualify? But you have to qualify to run that. Did you actually qualify?
Oh yeah, the first time I ran it. The first time I ran it, way back in like 1990. You only had to be 18 years old to register.
Ah, okay.
And and then the next year, the next year I did qualify and I got a bid number. And because I
Oh,
was actually
okay.
a sub 3, yeah, I was actually a sub 3 hour marathoner.
Oh, you were
I was a,
you were a sub 3
what's
or oh
that?
my God, that's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I started actually competing as a distance runner when I was only about 13 years old.
Okay, you were
And
that good.
yeah, by the time I was 16, I was already running like the 2 mile in like under 10 minutes and the mile in under 4.5 minutes. And I had a lot of ability. I was
Oh
pretty
no, it
accomplished.
sounds like you do. Yeah, wow, you were at the top of your game then.
Yeah. Oh, and in high school, I actually was an all-state, and got a little bit of actually got a little bit of scholarship money too. Not much, but it was a little something.
But what kept you
That's
out of the marathon? I mean, if you're running a sub 3, what got you just kind of slowed down? You hurt yourself, or
Yeah, I was starting to have a little bit of pain in my right hip, and
yeah, I see. Okay,
by the
makes
time I
sense.
was yeah, and I was like, I think that's it, because eventually, if I kept on pushing, I'd probably wind up looking at a hip replacement or something.
In 2014, I ran a marathon I ran a marathon in 2 hours and 50 minutes and 20 seconds. And you know what? You want
Wow.
to know why the reason I lost? We see the problem with marathon running. You always run into if somebody's flick. Okay, so there's you always get these people that come out of state that run into these small marathons, and like you're in your own
Uh-huh.
hometown, and they'll show up. And this kid who was like 16 years my junior beat me by 7 minutes, but I still finished in 2 hours and 50 minutes. I did awesome.
Unbelievable. And that was 2014.
I was 44 years old and I ran a 250 marathon. And the
Wow.
third place guy was like 17 minutes behind me. That's how close I was to winning this thing. But this kid, this 27-year-old kid showed up at the race, or 26-year-old kid. I'm like 18
Yeah.
years difference, and he beat me by by less than a mile, like a 7-minute mile. But I told the kid I had him beat for like 13, 14 miles, and he passed me. That's when, but
Wow.
I still maintained my pace. But I was thin as a rail. The thing is that I could do it again. But it to be a good marathon runner, it's like a full-time job. It takes a lot of dedication to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was
Yeah. I mean,
training
back.
110 miles a week, 115 miles a week. That's a lot of running.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Back when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I had a lot of free time back then, and I was that's when I was really kind of at the peak of my running. I was
Yeah.
so that's when I was doing that's when I did the Boston Marathon a few times.
Yeah, Boston. I've done it 3 times. The first 2
Mhm.
times, the first time I did like 3:07. The second
Yeah.
time was 3:14, and then the last time I did in 2016, I had sunburn. I did 4:49. I did horrible. I got
Yeah.
sunburn, and that was horrible. That 2016 was a horrible year. It was hot that year. It was like a steam
Right.
bath out there. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, the last time I ran it, I actually it was like a little tick over 3 hours, and I remember I had a stitch in my right side. And I just barely kind of got out of there with my life.
Yeah,
But
wow.
that was a tough race.
Yeah, those were the good old days when the Boston Marathon wasn't commercialized like it is. Like now, every asshole and their
Yeah,
brother wants to run it now. They commercialize the
yeah,
shit out of it. That was a time where it never sold out. Now it sells out in 2 hours. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
It's like a status thing.
Yeah, it's no longer fun. The thing that bothers me about anytime something becomes mainstream, it destroys it. Like once you take
Yeah,
something like, let's move to Alaska and move into let's be an Alaskan mountain man. Well, once the mainstream media makes it awareness of it, it's no longer fun because now everybody wants to do it.
right. And
It,
there's so many people, in that marathon. It's like, how,
yeah,
how do you even move? I mean, it looks like
yeah,
it
yeah.
it
It,
looks
it
like it
used to
takes.
be like it would be like a course of like 10,000 people. Now it's 30,000. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
You're in
even
Hopkinton
more.
trying to run down this. No, it's not. It's no longer. It no longer has the spirit of the marathon. It's now anybody can run it, and
Yeah,
it's like I know it's like anything good becomes the standards were. I don't know if they have standards, but I know that like the marathon runners of 30 years ago had to be if you finished in the top if you were a sub-3 marathoner, you were in the top 10%. Now, if you're sub-3, you're in the top 2%. So it showed
Right.
you that there were so many faster runners back then.
Yeah, I think back then, back when I ran, in order to get a bib number to qualify, you had to run it in under 3:05, 3 hours and 5 minutes.
It was huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know I don't know if it's still the same. It's probably 3 hours or maybe 3:05. It's about the same.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, there's just more people doing it. I think anytime something becomes popular, like it's like people want to live out in the state of Idaho. You know, it's like fun when it's not everybody doing it, but when it becomes mainstream, it loses its appeal. You know.
Yeah, it really chokes all the fun out of it, when things get too crowded like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, but oh well. So that's another subject. But
All right.
you're thinking about moving out of. You're thinking about moving to a different place after you retire.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting out of Massachusetts.
Who's screwing around? Who's making noise in the background?
Somebody unmuted
Yeah.
themselves from the show.
Bill, mute that, whatever that is. Mute that shit.
I gotta figure
Yeah, I
out
get-
which one's doing it first.
I'm not doing it.
It's whoever's on the show page needs to mute their sound.
All right. Is that Jay or Harry doing that?
Sorry, what? What's happening?
Harry, are you making all that ruffling noise?
Oh yeah, I was just out in the back garden having a smoke there, and there was birds and
Okay,
shit. But I'm back inside now, so hopefully it won't
mute
be
your
loud.
microphone if you're not going to talk, because we're hearing all this crackling. Oh, it sounds like somebody's ruffling something.
Oh yeah. No, I just shut the door there. I think that's what that is. You know, it'll be quiet now. Is it quiet now?
But Dave, are you like looking to meet a girl or?
No, I'm not really looking at. I'm still getting this feedback here.
Right. I'll mute the mic.
Well, mute the mic, Harry. Please do that, because it's driving me nuts. Okay, there we go. All right, Dave, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, that's better.
Dave, you need to get to the bar, dude, and go downtown and hit the bars and down. Yeah.
Hey, absolutely, Steve. No, anyway, no, not really. Getting a woman isn't really on my agenda right now. I don't think it ever really.
I think that it's not that I wouldn't have a problem meeting somebody, but it's just that that sexual climate and the battle of it is too vicious now.
Yeah, it is. But I'm going to be I'm probably going to be looking to move probably sometime I'm going to stay here throughout the winter, and then probably in the spring or summer of next year I'm going to put my place up for sale and get on out of here.
You'll make a lot of money off it.
Yeah, I should do okay, and I want to move to some place some other part of the country where it's not quite as expensive as around here.
Well, you could move to Cleveland. You'd be able to, but then you have your own host problems there too.
Yeah. How's your area? Would you say Olmsted Falls? You live around?
I live in Olmsted Falls, in a suburb, but I would say that the suburbs are not. I'm probably going to move out of here in a year. I'm not going to stay here. Because the taxes are high, and I'm not really getting my money's worth. I'm probably going to move like to a suburb outside of, maybe in Cuyahoga County, but I'm probably going to move to a place where the taxes are a little bit less. It's
right.
For a single guy, paying high property taxes are good if you have kids in school, but they're not. Makes no sense if you're single.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and Olmsted, I think that's because I've been out that way, out to Cleveland, and I took a trip out there probably about 20 years ago. You're right outside. You're right kind of near the airport, right?
Right, exactly. We're right. Olmsted Falls, like 10 miles from the airport. Yeah. If I ever had to pick you up, if you're going to come visit me, I'd be 10 minutes from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have a beautiful.
Yeah.
we have a nice park system too. We have like 60 miles of bike trail. Like for example, I live about 4 miles from the park, and it's like there's a thing called Valley Parkway, which is a main artery, and it's got bike trails for miles. I mean, it's unbelievable how long you can run. It's like a horse trail, bike trails too, and like
Nice.
we have a great park system, and it goes for miles, and it's something like you don't even have in Boston or Pittsburgh or I mean, it's amazing. Like it is a unique place, despite the fact that it's in the city. You still got a huge section of park, and it's nice.
Right.
You need your
Yeah,
green
nice.
space. Um,
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I've actually thought about, I've kind of thought about pretty much every, most parts of the country. There's some parts I just haven't really, I've totally ruled
Well,
out, like California and,
your taxes would be a lot lower because I don't know, what do you pay in taxes here? Like 4,000?
no, I'm paying 2,600 a year for,
Oh,
I
that's
just have a 2 bedroom. Yeah, I just have like a
yeah,
two
but
bedroom condo.
oh my God, you're still that's cheap where you're. But which city are you living in though?
I live in Plymouth. It's about 40 minutes south of Boston.
Plymouth?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're
that's yeah. You know where Cape Cod is? You familiar with that Cape
yeah.
Cod?
Are you near the water?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm right on the coast.
Oh my God, you're in a great place then. So what's your value? What's your property valuation?
Um, I want to say that these units I'm living in, they're probably going for around maybe $225,000. If I was like closer to Boston, they'd be closer you are to Boston, the higher it goes.
Oh wow,
You know,
wow.
if I was like 10 miles from Boston, I mean this place would probably be about $450,000. You know,
Yeah, I bet it would
but
be. But the fact that it's
yeah,
valued at 200 something thousand, my house is valued at 144, 142, and I'm still
well,
paying $4,000 a year in taxes. It's fucking insane.
well,
I mean,
yeah, it is.
yeah, it is, and it's like I don't understand. These fucking yuppies. They every time there's a tax hike vote, they all vote for this shit, and these fuckers like there's no end to it. So if I had kids, it would make sense for me to pay this shit. But what's the point of paying the taxes when you know okay, you're gonna pay 4 grand a year to live in a place that you have no benefit of, no fucking benefit whatsoever.
Yeah. Now I bought this place about almost 20 years ago. The property taxes were about 900 a year,
Right.
and
Well, yeah.
so yeah, 20 years they've come almost tripled. So
Well, that sounds like where I'm from, and that happens all over Cuyahoga
yeah,
County. Unless you live in
yeah,
the actual city, you have to get out of the Cuyahoga County to get away from this shit. But I mean, you got to decide what your ultimate goals are. When you live, for example, if you're single, it doesn't pay benefit you to live in an area where the taxes are high. Now, Cuyahoga
right,
County, you don't have to live in Homestead Falls or North Olmsted or Strongsville to pay. You can move outside of those cities, so you don't have to pay as high a taxes. That's up to you where you
right.
want to live. You may decide you want to stay there. Who knows?
Yeah, the other thing I've got going for me. I mean, I bought this place for short money too. 20 years ago I bought it, I only paid like I think it was like $68,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of a
that's
fixer
cheap.
upper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
and
that's cheap. Yeah, I mean things have gone. Like immigration and immigrants drive the cost of living up too, because anytime there's demand for property, that's when it goes up.
right. Yeah, it seems like it's kind of doing that around here. The population is definitely growing. It's so overpopulated around here. It's really kind of gotten out of control.
No
But
kidding.
yeah, I kind of want to go someplace where it's just more quiet. It's I'm just kind of getting a little bit yeah, it's just a little bit too much around here.
Right.
Well, that's the way it's going to keep going too, because as long as it stays the way it is, it's only going to go up to the point people can't do anything. I mean, look at some of the homelessness that's going on in California. Some of
Yeah.
them people literally work a full-time job and still can't afford to rent, so they're living in their
Right.
vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just concentrating so many people into these small geographical areas. Mm.
Yeah, it's basically called farming the human population.
Yeah.
Get as many people
Well,
in friggin' area
Bill,
you can.
the biggest people affected by this stuff is these poor people because gentrification, they pass zoning laws. Like if you're a poor person living in an area, they'll pass zoning laws that'll make it impossible for you to stay in your area. So they, like if they want to, let's say, take a city like Columbus, Ohio, and they want to gentrify the downtown area so that yuppies can move in and make it more vibrant, they'll do everything they can to kick those poor people out. And where are these poor people going to go?
Most of them wind up on the street.
Right? Exactly.
Mm.
And that's sad because you think about it, you get somebody working their ass off, doing the best they can, and the rent goes so high that their entire paychecks won't cover it. Now you're forced to live in your vehicle.
Yeah. Bill,
Hmm.
even though I'm able to make an income above and beyond what most tradespeople can, I got to be totally honest with you when I tell you this. I have a lot of sympathy for people that cannot make an income because not everybody can be in that situation at that time. And I think that what happens is when people make it to the top, and that's I'm using that term loosely. Let's say you make it to a point where you can make 100,000 a year or 60,000, 80,000. You start to become insensitive toward the very people that are just trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And Bill, I try not to do that because any one of us, all it takes is one slip on the ice to hit your head, incapacitation. You could be on the streets tomorrow. And
That's correct.
Hmm.
That could happen to
and
anybody.
Yeah.
like my mom did not expect to have a brain tumor for the third time in 18 years. And right after she retires, she's now in this predicament that she's in today. You don't know what's going to happen. And people are arrogant because they think, oh, they see an 87-year-old couple driving their fourth-door sedan. That's normal. That's what normal people do. No, that's not. That's winning the genetic lottery and not realizing
Mm.
you could have very easily you could have had you know what I'm saying, Bill?
Yes, it could have been a total different outcome for you real quick.
And people think
Yeah.
that's normal. So I found out something. Every day I live, Bill, I don't assume that I'm going to make it to 65. I live every day knowing I could die tomorrow. I realize that because that's how fragile life is.
Well, you know what,
Yeah. I
Steve?
mean,
I think, Steve, I think you got the right attitude. I really
Right.
do when it comes to that. I sarcastically watched today my real ID showed up in the mail. Wow, whippy, right? And I looked at the expiration date on it and said, "Wow, this will probably be the last ID I'll ever have."
mm,
Because it don't expire
yeah.
to the end of 2027, and I'm going, "Oh well, hell, I'll probably be gone before that gets here."
Yeah. Life is definitely a really delicate balancing act. Yeah. Your licenses are really valid for that long, huh, Bill?
Yeah, because it's the real ID.
Well,
Oh.
but I wanted to say this point. Let me finish this because people act as if life, like they got their life planned. This is why these fucking get rich quick schemes and these self motivational. You don't know what life has in store for you, and every day you're driving your car, you could get in a major car accident and get a broken neck, or you don't know what's going to happen. And the only thing you can do is just live day to day. You know, we always see the finished product, the 89-year-old lady that's never been in a car accident. Oh, well, everyone's going to live to be that old. No, that's not
Mm,
guaranteed at all. You know,
Life has no guarantees on it. Age has no guarantees on it. And death doesn't discriminate, neither does injuries. You could be on a
yeah.
ladder doing something simple or standing in a chair in your home changing a bulb, and have the chair give out and fall and crack your head, and next thing you know, you're paralyzed or you're injured or wounded for life.
Yeah,
Mm,
right.
Two.
These people act like, oh, it's given, and then of course it gets self-righteous. Well, you shouldn't have done that. You're not guaranteed anything. If I can impart any wisdom to any of these fucking TFLers, I would tell them that live your day to day. That's all you can do. You're not guaranteed
Yeah.
anything.
Right, but I mean, I had a guy I worked with a couple of weeks ago. He actually died right in front of me. He came upstairs and he was in the supervisor's office, and he was having hot flashes, and he was complaining that he was just feeling really tired and everything, and he just took a heart attack, massive heart attack, and just died right there
Right
in
in
front
front
of
of
us.
you.
Right in front of
Yeah.
me, 61 years old. Yeah,
And we have another,
collapse of a heart attack.
we have
Mm.
somebody else in here with us. You want to say hi?
Sure. This is Timothy Woods out of St. Louis.
Hey, Timothy, how you doing?
I
Hey,
would
Tim.
I would have been and called in or whatnot. It's just you guys were talking about a area of life that I'm not saying that I would never get to or whatnot. Even though I am 41, so I'm kind of ashamed. But at the same time, you guys were discussing the values of your real estate and things of that nature, being able to move from more expensive areas to not just lower cost of living places, but I'm sure you probably would like a better climate too at the same time. So I was just kind of listening to that, and then when you guys went to talking about the areas of life in terms of the homelessness and whether it's dealing with California or just right there where you're at, it just kind of gave me a moment to just really listen to just get more of a take of your perspective on it. And I definitely was glad to hear that despite the income level that you have a certain mindset, because there are people that are making 20, maybe 30,000, if that amount, that feel like they're on top of the world because of the rise of social media and the filter aspect of being able to just show that 1% of your life that you want the world to see, or the things of that nature, but you don't show the 99% that there's no food in your refrigerator or your gas tanks on E type things.
Well, what I was saying was
Mm.
specifically was that I have a decent job. I drive a service van, and
Yes, sir.
I make close to $30 an hour. But at the same time, I don't look down on people that don't make half that, because anybody can have a shitty life where they're in a position where they don't reach that point. And I try to be empathetic because, like I said before, God does not want us to be arrogant. I'm not trying to preach religion on you, but this is
No,
not
you're
it.
just speaking the truth.
If we're going to survive as a species, we got to have empathy for all people. We got to understand that there are people. Anybody could fall off a ladder and break their ass, and anybody could become incapacitated tomorrow. You can't predict your life where it's going. And so I'm coming to this conclusion now in life, because I know 85-year-old men that look down on people because they don't make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, but a lot of it has
Mm.
to do with upbringing and stuff too. Like I'm here, like I said, I'm here in St. Louis, so I damn sure can definitely talk about the division. The fact that I am African American or black, and I
Right.
am married too, for the record. But I do have a strong sense of that male aspect of as that. It's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of pussies out here. It's the few and far in between, even falling in our generation, that has allowed themselves to just fall into that you want to be once type mentality that you've lost track. But that was another subject. But yeah, again, here, I definitely see it. I mean, I live near what's called the Central West End, and I mean, it's pretty much Washington University, their School of Medicine, and they've pretty much taken certain neighborhoods of St. Louis and redeveloped them, and made it a means to allow the students to have something to do outside of school and work. And of course, as a courtesy, the public has the right of way because of the fact that neighborhoods were there. You can't just put up a wall, even though I personally believe that if they could put up a wall, they would. And
Right.
you see that mentality, you see that mindset.
Yeah. Well, what they want to do is gentrify the area, and
Mhm.
basically, like the Cleveland Clinic is like the fourth biggest medical institution in the country, and they have
Or
gone
the
and
CJC.
right, and it's in a black area. It's all
Yep.
black area. But what
Yep.
they do is they're buying up property and gentrifying it. And of course, it's become upscale, and it's so you got like a lot of wealthy people and yuppies moving in, and it's like, what are you going to do to take these poor black people? We're going to displace them too, you know.
I
You
mean,
know,
in St. Louis, you know, the concept of certain neighborhoods have had that applied, and you know, once upon a time, North County kind of used to be like the diamond in the rough if you were black. So to say, hey, I live out in North County, you know, you had a level of superiority or whatnot, superiority, you know, dealing with things. And but now the same place that 20 years ago that you know, your credit better been a 750 plus and about 20 resumes and references to get in. Low income housing and subsidized housing has taken over. And you know,
right,
and I mean, again, you know, people do what they have to do, but unfortunately, when you hear those words such as low income, subsidized, you take on a certain mentality, a certain mindset. It's in a microwave
well,
that comes on.
are you saying that you have less sympathy for the people that are living in that situation?
No,
Because
no, sir, no.
okay, because I'm trying to be empathetic to understanding that anybody, and I've used this. My mom had a lot of money saved, and my
Okay,
mother had her third brain tumor in 18 years, and this threw her over the edge. Of course, they did all these operational things they shouldn't have done. I don't want to get into the details of it, but the
yes,
point
sir.
is that you're not guaranteed. And this is why I get tired of seeing these 90 fucking year old couples that are still driving their 4-door sedan and their Cadillac. And you assume, we're all going to live to be 90 and drive our 4-door sedan in Scottsdale and have a great sex life at that age. You're not guaranteed shit in this life. You don't know
Agreed.
what's going to happen. And I'm telling people right now that are suffering in anything like not get on it, you don't have a woman in your life or whatever. You got to live one day at a time and appreciate what you have and treat people well too, because we only have a short time. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's like I'm almost 50 years old, so my mindset has changed radically since, say, when I was in my 30s.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, and you just said the key word, you know, the mindset, and you know, again, I mean, even with us, you know, regardless of what age group we fall in, unfortunately, there are certain age groups and certain people who may have a particular number that says 40 or 50, whatever, but that
Right,
mindset is still younger because it's still allowing itself to become subservient to what social media and what
right,
others are saying you should be doing and how you should
right.
be
I
doing it.
know, I know what you're saying. There's no maturity level. I mean, some people who 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 are caught up in the matrix might think
Yeah.
that they're caught up in social media and they're caught up in the mainstream media, so they're not thinking they're still thinking in terms of like they're 20 years old. They're uh, the theme of this talk, just to let you know, is that
Hmm.
there's a phenomenon called true forced loneliness, which is guys that go year after year without finding a woman in their life. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, somewhat, somewhat.
Okay, well, that's the theme of what we talk about on this podcast. This is Bill Greathouse's podcast. And then me and Bill are kind of like the founders of this ideology. He
Yes,
founded the
sir.
name for it. But what it is that you've got all these younger men today, even in their 40s, that are alienated from society. Black men are big time suffering this, where they can't get a woman in their life to save their life because
Yeah.
our society has put women on such a high pedestal that the standards are becoming impossible to meet now. That even guys with good paying jobs can't get a woman in their life. It doesn't make any sense.
At least not one like you've said before. You all have said at least not one without, excuse me, unnecessary attachments attached to it.
Well, there's a
Excuse
lot,
me.
like I noticed the thing with women today, and this is Bill's observation, and a lot of guys are seeing this, is that even a woman that's 100 pounds overweight has
Mhm.
a laundry list of standards that she
Mhm.
wants in a guy. And most men are just dropping out from this dating scene. They realize that it's a scam, it's a rigged system. Now you're married, so you maybe got a good woman in your life. That's great that you have that, because there are guys that are finding wives in this game, and some guys are not. But um, I mean,
But I'm a
in the
man. I'm a man. But I'm a man first, and with like you said, I'm sure we will probably talk many and more days in the future, and stories
yeah,
will
yeah,
be
we will.
told. So no telling what type of things I've had to endure, or for that matter, you still have to keep yourself together on, and that's why like shows, for example, like 90 Days, regardless to which version of the show it is, the concept still boils down to you want to love, you want to be loved. And you do, and as the old song says, what you would do for love, you do everything, but you don't give up. And and with that in mind, yeah, it's sad that as men we even should even be having this because we do what we do every day as pillars of the community, as the bedrock, as the screws and nuts that keep things together. But because everyone wants this, I need it, and I'm hungry. I'm going to put it in the microwave or go to McDonald's or order out to eat type mentality. They seem to, or swipe to the left, whatever. They want to apply that to, like you said, with just dealing with everyday people that breathe just like they do, and it doesn't work like that.
I'm not saying that our problem is the only problem. I mean, I know
No,
you have economic problems. Bill and I, about 2007 or 2008 is when I started following Bill. He came up with a concept called true forced loneliness, and what it basically what the definition of true forced loneliness is that a guy will go year after year. He may have never had a woman in his life, and he dresses nice. He tries to be polite. He tries to do everything he can, only to find out that he gets shot down one year after another. I've gone through this. Now I've had girlfriends in my life, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a virgin, but
no,
I've gone,
I think none of
yeah,
that.
but I've gone years of my life like Bill has, and like a lot of guys, where you just can't find any love in your life, and it's
That's my
like,
point.
and I'm not ashamed to talk about this subject because if people are so embarrassed, it's an embarrassing subject. Bill, throw your 2 cents in.
Well, it's something that people need to be able to talk about openly without being ridiculed or caught or told it's their fault. Because a lot of it's social engineering to begin with to divide us.
Yeah,
And then people, of course, when you got the mentality of it's all about me and it's all about me and what's in it for me, you got a
yep,
lot of people using each other, saying all the
yep,
right things to get their wants,
yep,
okay, playing the game, okay. And my feeling about game is simple. Human beings' emotions and feelings is not a game to be played with,
yeah,
okay. And that's the biggest crux on the dating scene is everybody wants to think it's a game and you gotta have more game. But this means you're putting on a fake front. You're not telling the truth. And what do you think? You're going to stay being fake if you get together? Well, once you're living together, the real you's coming out whether you like it or not.
yes, it does. I mean, and a lot of these women too. I could, from my perspective of dealing, like I said before, I am African American and black, and a lot of the problems that I see in like you said, economics and things of that nature plays its part. But one of the major problems that I see is an identity crisis, where it's like, I wear a shaved head, or if I let my hair grow, I've always had wisdom. So I've always had like, salt and pepper, things of that nature. My hair is a little more gray now, but hey, it is what it is. Where about I see guys who let their hair, grow down to their ass if they could, but they'll get with a woman who would never let you see her real hair, at least not voluntarily. She spends more time putting on someone else's facade, someone else's hair in her head, someone else's nails on her finger, which is fine to some degree with the nails, but the point of the matter is that she puts on someone else's every day, and she wants you to be real with her, to do what you have to do as a man to her. But yo, you're not even real with me. When I meet you, I'm not meeting the real you. I'm meeting whatever facade you choose to put on that day. Since you could change your hair like you change your underclothes, hopefully. You see what I mean?
I know what you're
So
saying.
so the like you said, and you could be with. I mean, you could be with a person and still have to still find things within yourself, especially if you've been through certain things even leading up to that point, because sometimes you can even enter into a situation where you've been so, twisted and turned and knotted because of other things that you got a moment to actually start to think. And now you start to reflect and you start to do and you start to realize. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm like you guys said, there are many of attributes. I'm one of those individuals who love philosophy, for example, and for like the book that's so proudly displayed on the screen of the New World Order and things of that nature. And one of the things I've definitely gotten from those perspectives is that there are many of pieces of puzzles, there are many of layers, there are many of, like you said, things that were done long before we were even thought of that were put in play, and we're seeing the remedy, the results of a lot of it. And a lot of the times, like you said, you can go to a bar, you know spend, and that's sad. That's sad when you can't even go to a bar where like where you're spending double triple the amount XYZ and walk out and at least say I had a good time. That's bad when you have to be at home and you can enjoy your own company first, far more
Yeah.
greater than you can being around someone else.
Well, the reason I've said about the bar thing is the bar scene used to be something where, yes, you'd spend more money, but you would at least engage in social conversation with people.
Yeah,
Now the bar scene is you're spending the same amount of money percentage wise, but you're not getting any social contact with ladies or even other fellow guys. So
no,
why would I waste my money at a bar when I can sit at home, drink the same alcohol for less money, and
yeah,
not come home and be miserable because the bar scene is not what it used to be. It used to be a social function. Now it's not. It's like I see decent, handsome guys sitting alone all the time at the bar. Like, what the hell's going? Women segregate themselves. They're all on
yeah.
one side of the bar, and no, you're not walking. The pickup artist would say, "Oh, you need to walk up and approach them." Oh, really? They're like, "Get the hell away from me." These women
Espe-
don't want you to approach them. They don't want you
Especially,
near them.
yeah, I was gonna say, especially if you're not on their screen that they're looking at that moment, because 9 times out of 10, that's what
if
everybody's
if
doing
if,
anyway.
if they're interested in you, they're going to make it. They're going to move into your zone. Okay, so what I guess I'm saying is our society has gotten to the point now where we have to. We're almost living in a modern day Sharia law. I mean, it's like we saw Antonio Brown. What's happened to him? I
Oh
I,
yeah,
I think I think he's an idiot, but at the same time, I think he's a victim because I think that he is being attacked at every level because this pussy on a pedestal, this gynocentrism has gotten too far, and all a woman has to do is accuse you, and
yeah.
the NFL's got to now investigate it. It's insane.
And the higher of a status you have in society, the more of the you have to step out the light of everything, even if it is in the end proven that it's not true, but because of who you are at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is really in a bad situation, and I know he's done some stupid things. We don't know the gist of why he's doing what he's doing. Maybe he's ignorant, but he's got all these allegations on him now, and now his career is basically, unless he can be vindicated and proven wrong, and it seems like he's got to play one lousy game with the Patriots, and he's history. It's like, what do you do?
And that's a catch-22 as well, because it's obvious y'all are like-minded individuals. So with that being said, who's to say that the things are even true? We all know that at the end of the day, this is still a place or an environment where it's easier to always focus on a certain group of people. And I'm not trying to, play that race card or things of that nature, but unfortunately, a lot of things are what they are. And
No, no, it is a racial thing. I know that blacks are under more scrutiny, but I think that it you got to also understand these are black women accusing him of this. So it's not like they're sticking by their brother. It's like there
mhm,
there there is a there is a listen. I would say the difference between the sexes and the races, sexual division is by far greater than racial division in this country.
yeah,
Women by far
yeah.
have more of a sisterhood than I mean, the division between the races is by far less than the division between the sexes. It's hands down differently. I
Oh,
mean,
I,
when
I,
you
I
got
agree. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, 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 I was gonna say you got more black guys on YouTube now complaining about the dating scene, and there's more guys that are black guys are living in voluntary celibacy like in epidemic numbers now. I mean, it isn't like the Tyrone, the Tyrone that gets 5 different women to get that spread his seed is a
Yeah.
minority. He's most of the black guys out there are not getting one decent piece of tail and a good woman in their life. It's just not happening. That's why you got so many black guys in this in this men's movement now. And this shit has gotten out of proportion, man. This division between the sexes has gone so crazy. And
So
black ball players are big victims of this shit because these women are gold diggers and they're playing for keeps, man. They're trying to get
yeah.
their our society is so pro female, and the NFL isn't gonna they're not gonna rock the boat because they can't afford to, you know.
No, no, because you have a bigger audience to think about it compared to just that
We have
one.
all these married couples, and Bill, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think you're pretty much spot on, and it's not going to change any until people start really caring about one another.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, I don't see that happening, not in our lifetime, because they have created so much division through society, and it's a constant race to cause more division. And so, if
yeah,
it's not genders, it's race, it's always something to keep the division, to keep us divided. And that's why I said, when it comes right down to the dating scene's problems, it's like the majority of the problems in society, they've been deliberately created.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And until individuals understand that, I mean, you may not always get the win every round, but you can at least have the upper hand because you know how to navigate it instead of just allowing yourself to just keep hitting your head against the wall.
Well, it is. It is. When I tell people in the dating scene, I mean, anymore it's gotten so toxic. It's like, so all these guys are beating their head against the wall and smashing their own head with a hammer and don't
Yeah,
even know they are because the reality is the men and women have become so divided. The selfishness, the self centered, the everything. But it all goes back to NWO. It all goes back to New World Order. And most
But
people don't
Bill, I would
understand
tell you
that.
something. This is how bad it's gotten. When women nowadays have to make their vagina the number one equalizer in this thing, it shows how pathetic it is. When you got 21 years of Law and Order SVU, the victim,
oh
the
yeah,
vagina,
oh yeah,
everything is centered around the woman's vagina. This has become their battle cry, the vagina. Okay, listen, if women don't want to be objectified, they actually keep objectifying themselves by bringing up victimhood, and it's like it's clearly obvious that what propels these female commentators on these sports shows is their vaginas. I watch enough highlights of sports shows on ESPN on the YouTube to see
hmm
that they're using sex to control people. So we're so divided because we're told it's evil to think about sex, but all they keep doing is throwing sex in our face. And it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Listen, I tell my first and last name just like you do, Bill, because we're not afraid to talk about this shit anymore. I'm tired of being a coward about this, you know?
I wouldn't necessarily, again, I'm still an outsider on the outside looking in, and I don't want to necessarily, think that it's about, being a coward. I just think that a lot of folks, like you said, you both have said they just don't know. I mean, me and my wife were on the, we use public service transportation, and we were on the light rail train, and again, our public transportation system again with the economics and well, really the racism and genderism of things is a whole nother story. But still, we were on the train headed, making a run or wherever we were going, and I forgot what it was, but it was something that she pointed out that she said that the person may have then realized, and I was like, well, yeah, they probably realize it now, and it's funny because since they realize it now, they're probably going to realize it more from here on out there. So a lot of folks just don't see it, and you can't. It's like the number 33. If you never had a reason to be initiated to recognize the number 33, 11, 22, whatever, then you just don't pay it no mind. But once you've been initiated into it, and if your initiation or your enlightenment grows, then you would start noticing that number or that thing everywhere you go, in a sense. And I just think that that kind of applies to, a person in themselves. I mean, of course, the man child doesn't make it no better. Where you should be testing the limits. Our generation, as you guys have said in so many words, learned life by getting bruised up, by falling off our bikes, falling out of trees, doing the craziest things because we had to do those things to entertain ourselves, and we learned and we grew from it, as opposed to a damn piece of plastic or a device or whatever that is trying to teach you everything. And what are you really learning? Because as soon as something really hits you, you don't know how to handle it because you didn't have that upbringing at whatever age of experience to really know how to deal with it, or to even recognize it, for that matter, to even deal with it.
Yeah, well, this is the reason why I talk to these younger guys on YouTube. I'm 49 this year. I'll be 49 next month. And these younger guys don't know. This is why I always say a reference point is important, because you don't really know shit until you've experienced life.
Right.
And I know what you're talking about. Um, I guess what I'm saying, we're all over the map. I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I'm jumping all around the things that I guess what I'm saying is that I try to I like to get back to what I was saying is I try to have empathy for people. And by the way, I'm a teacher and I taught in a
Okay.
trade school, and I do teach minorities, so I do have empathy for people who are learning at different levels, because I understand that everybody deserves a chance in this world. My dad was a teacher too, so
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't
Go ahead.
affect. Yeah, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I was trying to piggyback off of what you were just saying about the teaching levels and things of that. I was gonna say, like, yeah, then here
I
we
teach
go.
I teach
With back to the
minorities.
home.
Yeah,
Huh? I'm
I,
sorry.
I under- I understand that there's differences in cultures, but I try to be empathetic because, like I said, I don't like people judging me.
Right.
And but this whole thing, what we talk about on this show, which is the battle of the sexes, we talk about this issue because we see Bill Greathouse and I am Steve Hoka. We see this change in society that's been going around in the last 15, 20 years, where they're demonizing men. They're
Yeah.
making all men look like hedonists and sex addicted losers. And
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick of it. And we talk about all the men out there that can't find a woman in their life. And Bill, you came up with the brilliant concept of true first loneliness, because it explains what isn't just happening with white men, but it's happening with blacks. It's happening with a lot of guys. There's a lot of racial and or sexual division.
Yeah.
Bill, yeah, Bill, you there still?
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
true, And I also try to tie people at least to the light aspect of understanding where these problems came from.
Right.
Because it's society, it's NWO, it's social engineering, and it's been going on for years. And it's only going to get worse. Eh, And how, and until people can realize where the root of the problem is, because when a young man can't get a woman in his life, and the first thing he does is blame himself, and then
Yep.
everybody else is blaming him. In reality, for the majority of men, I mean, I understand there's men out there that are actually at fault for not getting somebody in their own life, because we all know that happens. But at the same time, the majority isn't responsible for what's happening to them because it's been socially engineered.
Yeah. 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 And that's why it's great that there is a platform like this, and to where you can have a grounds to at least start. Even if it is nothing more than just tuning in, and it may be an hour of talk, but just 30 seconds of something that no telling what it can do to just change your life, to just change your whole concept, your outlook of things. And it's definitely even better the fact that you guys have a no. What I've seen or heard so far is that you have a nose holds down approach, which allows an individual to just be them. The great. I was listening to a program not so long ago that was saying that the greatest conversation is the conversation where people can acknowledge their faults.
So
To where it's not just about your strengths, your 1% of the time that you only show your life online. That 99% of the time when you're laying in bed or sitting by yourself or whatever the case may be, and you even still, have to ask yourself, like, damn, am I doing something right or doing something wrong? Is this right, or is this or is it that? Not because you're in self doubt, but because you're just really doing a review over yourself to just, continue to make sure you're on the right track, and if you're not, to get yourself on that right track.
Well,
You know.
that is the incentive that people need to go, but they also need to understand that there's certain things that's been socially engineered that you're not at fault for. Then you just have to learn how to deal with your life and move on with your life, and not let that tear you down.
As a black man living in America and definitely in St. Louis, Missouri, there's something, not trying to turn it into one of those conversations, but that's something that I have to remind myself every day, that I can't control what's being said about, whether it's Antonio Brown or the local news for that matter. I just have to just do what I have to do as my part to be that example, to show that yes, I see you, I see that you double stare, double look, or you eye stare, or you grab your purse, or whatever the case may be. But I also know how to ignore you and to continue to go about my day, or to, just I don't want to say this with arrogancy, but to just pretend like you just not shit, that you just not even around. I'm just in the world by myself.
Well,
Because in a
actually,
sense,
that's a pretty smart way to handle it because if you let it if you let it get to you where it cares, it'll start bothering you. It'll eat you alive, and you'll destroy your own self.
can I ask you a question if it's okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you mentioned about the NWO and so on and so forth, what was it? What point in your life where was it that you came across this or realized this in order for you to even acknowledge it within yourself, to even start to look into it?
Well, I was first 28 years of my life I was alone.
Okay.
Okay, and then of course I met my son's mother. But
Okay.
before that time, well, I had met so many different guys that were going through the exact same thing I was. And I had met a female school teacher over in the Philippines, and
All
I
right.
went over to see her. And on my trip over there, I met 5 Americans from different parts of the U.S., and their stories were identical to mine. And
Wow.
I was like, really? That can't be a coincidence. So that started me researching to find out what was going on. And amongst my research, it took me straight to the top and then beyond because it's social engineering. It is part of NWO. People don't realize that. Even like Tender, the chairman of the board is Chelsea Clinton. What do they
Oh,
think?
really?
Yeah, what do they think? That's an accident? No, it's not an accident. The crux of New World Order, I would tell you, the core of New World Order is the dating scene because they want population reduction. They put the
Yeah.
Georgia Guidestones in your face, and if you're after population reduction, then of course you know you're going to get involved in the dating scene because this is where life is created.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned about her, because we in St. Louis on streets called Forest Park and Skinker, which is right at Wash U. There's a boutique type restaurant that sits on that corner, and I can remember, I think it was about 10 years ago. The area was nicely well blocked off because she came to St. Louis for a visit, and that's where she was at doing her visit. So it's just kind of crazy you said that.
And then they blocked it all off,
Oh yeah,
huh?
you can imagine.
Oh yes. And so
So
but that's how I found this, and I started digging and digging, and the more I looked, the more it linked right back to the dating scene, and then it became very obvious what was going on. The problem I had is so many people don't see it, and then they think you're nuts. They call you names. I've been called every name in the book. I'm a woman hater. I'm a pedophile. I'm an animal abuser. I'm an alcoholic. I'm everything foul according to people who don't know me because I told the truth.
wow,
And when you tell the truth, you get attacked
yeah,
because
no
nobody
one,
wants.
no,
That's right. Nobody wants to hear the truth.
no. If they did organize religion or political parties, wouldn't have the positions that they have today.
That
Definitely.
that's it. So you get attacked for telling the truth, but they don't let it stop me. I'm still up here. Steve's been here almost as long as I have, and we've done a lot of dating scene topics. I've done a lot of NWO plus dating scene,
Mhm.
and I've been attacked and attacked and attacked. And you got to have tough skin, and you got to not give a shit what other people think of you, especially if they don't know you. Why would you
See,
care about what somebody thinks about you when they don't even know you?
totally agree. Even though sometimes it's easier said than done, but totally agree.
Yeah.
But but with that being said, so Steve, how about yourself? What was your point of view to come on board to enter into this area?
Well, I Bill Greathouse in 19 or 2008 had touched on a subject that was very made a lot of sense to me, which was true force loneliness, and he identified a problem that I had gone through throughout my life. Now, it wasn't at the time I had just broken up with my girlfriend after a couple of years, but I
Uh-huh.
had prior to that I had gone many years without anybody, and I found out that I wasn't alone out there, that there were many guys out there that were struggling in this thing. And it wasn't just the individual's problem, it was a
Right.
societal problem that I saw changing, because I noticed that, like, for example, when I was a teenager in the late 1980s, even if you are an unpopular guy, you could still get a girlfriend. But I noticed that things started to change in the 90s. There was this huge, like, market of books being written in the 90s about how to, like, there was a guy named Terry Hagee. He had a book called The Shy Man's Guide to Dating. There were tons of books being written. And then this late 1998, 99 came this guy named Ross Jeffries. He marketing this shit called Speed Seduction. It was pickup artistry. And then shortly after came this guy named David D'Angelo, who was a follower of David, or of Ross Jeffries. And it was just, there was something very sinister about it. Why all of a sudden did all these dating gurus come out in the 90s and early 2000s? It made sense. There was a problem that was going on in society that never existed prior to this. I have posited the theory that the CIA knew this problem was going on, and they appointed these people like David D'Angelo and Russ Jeffries to be frontmen for this organization called Pickup Artistry, because it acted as a safety relief valve for guys that ultimately would have taken this possibly to the streets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
To
fact
prevent a
is that the CIA is involved in a lot of these like, for example, feminism was funded by Gloria Stein, or was the CIA that funded Gloria Steinem. I had no doubt to believe that this PUA, this pickup artistry, could very well have been a result of the changing times, where you had hundreds of thousands, millions of men throughout the country identifying the same problem, that they can't get a girlfriend to save their life. I mean,
right.
you would think 50% of the population are women, but you have all these men that can't find a woman. Does that make any sense?
No,
No,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
it
Not
doesn't
with
make any
50%
sense.
of the population being that. No.
No,
No.
no, no, it doesn't. And what happened was, like, in the 70s and 80s, you always, I mean, Bill will disagree because Bill has lived TFL longer, but most guys could at least find something, okay?
Oh
Where
yeah. Oh
nowadays,
yeah.
that the progression has gotten so bad that even women that weigh 400 pounds won't date a decent looking guy. I mean, even a decent looking guy has to fight to get a woman that's 300 pounds, because the standards have changed. Women have less interest in men. And this problem was going on in the it was started in the 90s, I believe, but it got progressively worse. And when Bill talked about it, I identified with it because I knew exactly what he was talking about. And
Right.
guys from all over the world were coming to our channel, especially his channel, and saying, "Hey, oh my God, I can relate to this." And Bill, why don't you tell the story about how that one guy was telling you how you were attracting all these people from all over the world?
Yeah, that was a psychologist I used to talk to online out of Atlanta, Georgia. He
Okay.
opened. He put up a True Force Loneliness website for us, which I appreciated. He had the skills to make the website. So he made the website and he monitored it. And 3 months in, he called me up on the phone and he wanted to know how I'd done it. And I was like, done what? He says, you have people from all over the world coming here. He says, how did you get mainstream media across the world without mainstream media? The only
Right.
thing, and the only thing I could tell
Right.
him is by accident.
Well, it's a hell of a coincidence, like so many other agendas that we see are constantly being pushed, whether it's government sponsored directly or indirectly, for that matter. I guess.
Bill, I swear to God, PUA is PUA equals CIA. Bill, I need to re-upload that video.
Well, yeah,
PUA
Steve
is
said that years ago, and I totally agreed with him. You know, I called it problem, reaction, solution. They knew what they'd done, they knew the outcome, so they gave you the reaction of the people, of course, was anger out of the men. So then they
Right.
give you the solution. Pick a partisan history on Paul Elam and men's right activists.
yeah. They gave
I
you the
mean, I mean,
story.
I
They
mean,
got
I
a lot
mean,
of
I mean,
women. Go ahead.
I mean,
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just like you said, problem on solution, problems answer solution, the Hegelian concept, 50% of the women or whatnot of the majority and so on, the feminist movement, things of that nature, and unfortunately too, as much as we all, as much as people may say that they do like it, that lesbian aspect doesn't make it no better either when they're being taught more and more that as women they can love each other and don't need you anyway.
Well, that's
That's
correct.
right.
And that's where you got 30 years of male bashing all over Hollywood, you know,
Oh yeah.
and some of it, like when you look at what was it, Family Matters with Urkel,
Urkel, yeah, Urkel.
they they put him down, man. They made him look dumb and stupid.
Yes, they did. Yes,
That
they
was
did.
that was nothing but male bashing.
I never thought of that like that, but that makes a lot of sense. So, what was Steve? Where was the Stefan? I mean, because I'm not gonna lie, I never. Again, the more you become enlightened, the more you can go back and watch movies and TV shows, and you can see the hidden underlying agenda that people don't get because they just see the entertainment. So, like you said, with Steve, he was very intelligent, very wise, had it going on, but yet wasn't shit. Where about
Exactly.
where does the Stefan individual fall into the dialogue then
That
of
come
what?
into that comes into now he was cool like Fonzie on Happy Days.
Oh, okay, happy. Okay,
So
okay,
think about Fonzie. Now he was cool. Now he was acceptable. So they're telling you who you have to be, basically doing away with your individuality that you can't be yourself. You got to
there
be
it
as
is.
they tell you. It's like think with the brain and the jar up on the shelf. Don't think with your brain, think with ours.
I think with
Yeah,
ours.
but Bill, I forgot. There's another TV show that's going on. Its 21st year now. It's Law and Order SVU. It's the
Uh huh.
21st year where they're glorifying the bashing of men. Like every man in New York is a sexual predator, and this fucking show is so ridiculous. Like they make it look like one in every four guys in Manhattan is a sexual predator. It's so fucking insane. And this, like, can you
Wow.
imagine if New York had this sexual predator problem? It would be a national crisis. I mean,
Yeah.
if in real life. So this, what the hell is going on? Whose stories is that?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna look and see who's making all that racket.
Fucking pause this shit.
Wow. Wow. I mean, again, just like with so many subjects, I mean, it just is it's definitely more than just what's above the surface, and it just wow, just y'all just got me speechless.
Well,
Oh, I'm
it,
sorry. I'm sorry. I was moving something. I apologize. I'm
okay,
sorry.
no, keep it going. Yeah, just it just kind of we try
Yeah,
to
I'm
keep
sorry.
it
I
flat.
apologize. I
We try to
apologize. But I was saying though, with just like with so many subjects or what I mean, yeah, just like with so many subjects, you realize so much that is that when you get when you go from what's above the surface, you start to see that there are so many interconnecting things that
Yeah.
you know you're gonna need a few lifetimes to pretty much get it together in a
No,
sense.
you don't
Well,
need you don't need a couple lifetimes. All you got to use is your intuition. You use your reference point. I just look at it's not normal for a guy to have to build a life around a plan. If you want to get a woman in your life, you shouldn't have to learn a philosophy of life like this pickup artistry like dude, you need to learn game. You need to learn like since when did people need to learn a skill to meet somebody of the opposite sex? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
It
absolutely
should be
insane.
natural. It should be natural of meeting someone of the opposite sex. If anything, you should go through. Not saying I'm pro for it, but if you are gay or bisexual, it should be more of a challenge to approach someone in that aspect because you never know what their reaction may be. So it should be more of a natural thing when it comes to the opposite sex. It should be exactly what the word says of that the opposites attract. So the opposite sex should be attracted to you regardless.
That's correct. Think about it from this aspect as well. You
Yes,
got
sir.
you got 30 years of male bashing going on in the Hollywood, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
now think about the little boy and little girl sitting there watching TV. The message is being said to the little girl her whole life from the time she's a child is that men are villains, pedophiles, rapers, we're everything vile. Okay?
Okay.
So now this little girl grows up and this is the message that's sent by media, and a lot of people the TV set becomes the babysitter for the children. So when you think about that and then you put that together with what's going on and the hatred towards men, I would say that Mr. Holka's statement about in today's society, women love women, men love women, women
Yeah.
hate men, and men
Yep.
hate men.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. You just said a whole book in a few statements.
Well,
You know.
that's that's what's really going on right in everybody's face, and you got so many people so caught up in this paradigm they can't see it, and so they still fight it and deny it, or they're embarrassed. They don't want to tell you that look, I can't get a girl in my life because they're going to be made fun of and laughed at and mocked, and they're scared of the ridicule, the anti-harmony attacks, so they're going to lie and tell you they're getting laid all the time when they're actually not.
Can I ask you a question? Since Hollywood is brought up, and when it comes to music, since music is always focusing on sex in some form or another, do you think that's probably why music is so powerful in a sense that that's like like the bottle for someone to where if they know that they're not able to if they feel like they're not able to meet someone, they can just listen to the music and just act their life out through their music that they listen to.
Well, in some people's cases, I'd say yes, because music has been doing what for years? The same thing Hollywood is. All the songs are wrote, dedicated, majority of them are to women.
Yeah,
Okay? Just like the market, everything's marketed to the women as well.
they got the cheapest items.
They
Well,
got
the
the
expensive items.
walk in and look at the wardrobe for clothing for women and the wardrobe for men. Okay? When then you look at the over sexualizing society, I got nothing against sex, and everybody naturally wants it, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
when you over sexualize society, then people start replacing what's real with sex.
Yeah.
See, it's like a double edged sword. They're using everything against us, and we're sitting back just mindlessly, fluffily going with it, rather than realizing what's really going on.
So with the Georgia Guidestones being mentioned, then if people are not dealing with each other of the opposite sex, then in an indirect way outside of abortion and of course murder and the obvious, then the agenda will gradually get to its point if nothing is done to really start to reverse that.
That's it. It's going to get to the point where we're not going to be they're already pushing this idea of sex bots, robots, for mates. And you have a percentage of MIG tollers and TFLers that just can't wait to get their robomate because they're so lonely. Okay, but you know how it's very sickening to see us going this way. But unless people really wake up and realize what's going on and back up and start having care for each other, I'm not saying you have to love somebody or be their best friend, but on a mutual area, you have to care enough for somebody else's rights as you would your own, and you have to recognize the corruption and be willing to stand together. Now, how are we going to ever stand together to rise up to stop them when you're either scared of authority or you're too scared to speak out because you might be called names or you might be attacked? Well, as long as you go with them mentalities, you'll never change nothing.
Zachary Hubbard of the Gematria Effect News Channel, if you've ever heard of that, always
I
speaks
know
on.
Zachary. Actually, I've talked to Zachary right here on Skype.
You
Him
sure
and
have. You sure have. I remember now. And I was just saying that to say that he just lost a channel, his 19th channel, 18th channel yesterday,
yep,
and that was
that's it's because of what he does. Zach's
because
a
of what he
very
does.
smart man,
Oh
and
yeah, oh yeah. I definitely have a lot of respect for him. But on the flip side, you have a Mark Passio, and Passio does make a point when he talks about the dark cultists, etc. He does make a point when he does says one thing: they are well organized, they are well versed at what they do, they are well focused, and
Mark
they work in
Passio,
tandem.
Mark Passio tells a lot of truth. Okay, but don't be fooled by him.
Oh, okay.
Mark Passio's still an agent.
I wonder that. I wonder that. I was trying not to go there because again, you guys really don't know me, so
Yep.
you don't get a first chance to make a second impression,
It
second chance at
wasn't it
criticism.
wasn't that long ago that Mark Passio was interviewed by Alex Jones.
Right.
It wasn't that long ago that Mark Passio slammed the mainstream media and then promoted the alternative media, but yet the mainstream media and the alternative media are controlled by the same entity, the military media industrial complex.
I wondered that too. So you just
Okay.
answered that question.
So what you have is Mark Passio is a plant. He's part of the system. And see, we're in the end stages of NWO. So they're releasing a whole lot of truth now deliberately. And the one thing they've always said is that we will tell the people the truth and the people will do nothing about it. And that's exactly what they've been doing too.
Wow. Wow. I wonder that. I mean, I could remember coming across, One on Earth was happening a few years ago, and listening to a guy that I give him his props. He came off as an individual that seemed like he was, going through the everyday problems of the everyday person dealing with the everyday things. The show left, other things were being done, and then when the show comes back, it just seemed like it was just a new a whole new individual. To where, if the cloning aspect of the conversations of the automatons was to come up, you would definitely wonder, like, yo, has he been replaced with something else? Because just the demeanor, the look, the whole nine, the stage setup, the production, is you just see a whole difference in them. So those were questions in the back of my head, and it's just funny how you just read my mind and just answered them outright.
You're not far off. I followed Mark Passio for quite a while. Now he is the only one, you know. David Icke is another plant. David Icke also tells a lot of truth. But Mark Passio at this point is the only person I ever heard talk about the dating arena. And he
Yeah,
literally talked about the war on the genders and
yeah.
MGTOW. Okay. The sad thing is he is a plant. So people got to be careful with him.
So do you think that okay, of course, the plants serve a certain agenda, quote unquote, but do you feel that like you said, in the end times, more knowledge is being released that 100 years, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you would have definitely, whatever oath you took, you would have definitely left by that oath to have broken. So do you feel that, that the information that is being out there, is it, because I do believe that in order for magic or for things to work, you have to put it in people's face. It has to be there. Like if I'm gonna rob you, I have to literally give you the heads up that I'm about to rob you before I just rob you, in order for it to probably be more successful, as a comment, whatever. So do you feel like that's why the information is even greater that's being put out, especially via the differences of the sexes in the dating arena, since a lot of it is like that. If I can't get me a girl or can't get a girl that makes me happy, then why should I care what's going on with the Federal Reserve or something like that? Then
Well,
that makes any sense.
unfortunately, I know where you're coming from. Unfortunately, that's another double-edged sword because the reality is we have many plants up on YouTube that are actually just part of the system that we're fighting, and people don't realize that. The dating scene has been deliberately destroyed by these people. That's why I said it's the core of NWO. Okay, because it is population reduction, population control. Okay, they don't want men and women come back together like it used to be. And they're not going to let up on that because they want to control the population. In order for them to keep the numbers where they want it when they finally get it where they want it, they have to be able to control the birth rate.
Yeah,
And how would you control the birth rate if you didn't control the genders? So if they
yeah,
divide the genders up and keep them divided, then there's less babies. And if you push the transsexual gay, which has been pushed to you know where now, and
yes,
then you
sir.
got what 50, 60 something genders. You want to talk about ridiculous? There's no such thing as 50 or 60 genders, but they're convincing people there is.
I agree. I totally
So
agree.
you have a situation that's gotten totally out of control.
And not enough people are waking up to really see it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I appreciate you coming on here because you're actually seeing what I'm talking about. And I know Steve does. I know Jay does. I know Dave definitely does. There are people out here like myself or like you or like Steve Hoka, but we're outnumbered.
Yeah, yeah. So when I understand that Mark is what he is, but when he says that they are well organized, that definitely can't be debated. Then for real.
No, no, they are very well organized.
Where about, as Zach has said himself, he, which is sad. I mean, it's sad in the sense, and I'm not trying to call the kettle black, but you know, Mark on his show, I mean Zach on his show, says, hey, call. I'm kind of going off field a little bit, but I'm gonna bring it to the point. He kind of says on the show, like, hey, 2 minutes, call, make a point, let's get it there, boom. Whereby you get people that go over the time, that be all over the place, etc. So I'm just saying that to say that if they're not even trying to follow a concept like that, then to be organized is almost second to none in a sense, regardless to what the arena may be that you're trying to build off of.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know.
I think the people that are really organized are up at the top. They're above you. I mean, presidents are nothing but puppets, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's all that stuff is, and people don't see that. If you get hooked up in the right and the left, you're really getting hooked up in a stage show. Nothing different than watching Hollywood. And most people can't see that. They want to believe that their leaders are there for them when their leaders ain't there for none of us.
Yeah.
When they want to talk about slavery, well, let's get real. Slavery is still alive and well, and it's not just one race of people, it's going to be everybody.
Yes, it is. You definitely see it in the indirect way because I mean, if you don't work, 9 times out of 10, you don't have the income, which means you don't live the lifestyle that you think you're living on top of the world with.
Yep, that's correct. And unfortunately, within itself is another tool of destruction because more people are worried about making money than they don't care about what's going on as long as they're getting the money. So money's become, just as they've always said, the root of all evil.
Or as Alan Watts would say too, that as long as they are able to have that one up over the average other person.
Yeah, that's another sick mentality. The one on up, I got more of this or more of that, and it makes me sick because it's all man-made freaking crap. And you're gonna raise yourself up and think you're above somebody else because you have more man-made possessions?
That or because your skin color may be different and you may be a part of an ethnic group that quote unquote looks like is organized and has harmony with each other.
Exactly, you're right on spot.
You mentioned that you have a federal ID. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it is the or real ID. I'm sorry.
It is
Is
the
that the
real ID. I'm in the state of Iowa, and the real ID is now taken off. They're pushing it. And I went in, I come up here from the state I was in previously and just moved up here. This
uh
is
huh?
my hometown, okay? And I walked in to switch my license to find out I had to prove who I was, even though they have all my information. They have my birth record, they have my social security, they have everything on file. This is where I
Right.
grew up at. Okay, but I still had to go get it all and show it to them to get it. And then you had to read the brochure, and it is the real ID. And I got the golden star at the top, and without the golden star, you're not allowed to fly or go into a federal building. And people don't realize in 10, 20 years from now, that real ID is what's going to lock them down because
Period.
you're not going to be able to travel even out of state. That's how far it'll go.
Wow.
They're going to use it to lock people down, and people don't realize that. So I was a little upset when I realized what they were doing, and I backed up right there in their office and I said, "Oh, that's right, I forgot I'm a terrorist." And
Oh
you should
wow.
have seen the looks they gave me when I told them that.
I'm sure they weren't too happy.
No, they wasn't too happy, but I really didn't care.
I'm in Missouri, as you already know, so I'm right up under you. So how
Yeah,
do you? It's funny how you say Iowa because with that always being the first in the nation for the presidential elections and so forth, that's just it's almost like it would line up with it though in a sense
yeah. So here I am. I just got it in the mail today. I now officially have the real ID.
that has a that has a star above it and you
Yep.
can't and all the above.
That's right. You got to have the gold star in order to enter a federal building or fly.
And you had to prove who you are as if you were someone from a whole nother country
That's
living.
right. So what you think about Nazi Germany? They had to show their paperwork, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
here we are. We're over here showing our paperwork, even if they ain't got it. Here we are.
So the sovereignty myth is definitely going to show itself.
Yeah.
That if you're not a part of that corporation, that in order to become a part of that corporation, you have to take on your employee slash citizen ID to be able to be better function within the company, huh? Other
Yep.
than that, you just got
And
a visitor's badge on, huh?
yep. And just like everything else, they'll slowly progress it. It's not going to happen overnight, but they're going to move it up to where now the real ID, they added this to it, they added that to it, okay? And that's how it's going to go until they get everybody locked down.
Well, you did say that when your ID expires in 2027, that you're probably not going to be here. So maybe in reality, you're the one that may have the upper hand of the blessing and not have to be a part of it.
Well, yeah, that part's true. I just know with my health, chances of me being here in 2020 at the end of 2027 when it expires are very slim.
Yes,
So,
sir.
in that aspect, yeah. But I'm to a point now where you see, they're not going to scare me with a death threat. Wouldn't work because I don't care. You're not going to threaten my life and think you're scaring me because you ain't going to scare me.
Well, with all I don't want to hold you guys up no more, but I definitely would like to send my regards of appreciation. I do believe that there is no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason, and it's a matter of you properly putting yourself in certain positions based on what you've done, prerequisites before we get into that, so you can better have a conversation to understand or to learn more. And I just want to just thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to come on to the show to definitely get learned. I hope that I didn't ask too many questions,
Oh,
but
no,
they.
no. I actually appreciated you coming on, and you're always welcome to come back in. I'm going to be doing this once a week on Saturday. So
Okay.
if you want to come back in, just keep the information. And
Definitely.
you're
What time? What time? I know we're in the same time zone, so what time would it be central wise then?
9 o'clock p.m. Saturday nights.
Okay. Okay. And you're I want to say your co-host, but I don't know if that would be appropriate to say that. But I could definitely say he definitely keeps the fire going, boy. If you weren't motivated, listen to him for about 5 minutes, and I promise you will start to really look at life differently.
Well, Steve's a good man. I love the hell out of Steve. He's a great guy, and I appreciate you being here yourself. And I'm gonna get on out of here anyhow because I'm going for 4 hours long. So
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. Steve, and to everyone else, I thank you all for your time and look forward to, conversations in the future, but definitely of hearing what you guys have to say.
yep,
All
thank
right.
you, sir.
Have a good night, Tim.
All right. Good night, y'all. Bye.
Yep, we're going for 4 hours in, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream tonight. And I thank you, Dave.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, and I thank you, Steve, and Jay. I'm sure he's gone now. I don't blame him. And with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here, guys, and you all have a good one.
All right. Good night, Bill.
Night night.